Online at CordellCordell.com. 518-554-0000. 100 Great Oaks Boulevard, Suite 110, Albany, New York, 12203.
It's time to start the program. It's time to earn our pay. It's time to meet the people on the Keeler Show today.
It's time to read the news and weather. Time to figure out what to say. It's time to turn the channel of the Keeler Show today. Why do we always listen? Keeler's always in the know. It makes me want to call him and tell him where to go. And now let's get things started. Andrew, let's get things started. It's time to get things started.
On the most sensational, inspirational, celebrational, Keelerational. This is what we call the Keeler Show.
WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM. This is Keeler.
First of all, I love how Davey likes to quiz you on who Syracuse plays next. That's good stuff, Davey. I think it's kind of funny. I like it.
You got to let them know.
All right.
Do you know who they play after? Do you know who they play after Virginia Tech?
Oh, now we're going deep into this trivia quiz.
No, I have no idea.
They play a Friday night game, November 4th, against Boston College.
Okay. Well, you know, Syracuse has what most believe is an easy schedule going forward. But if anybody can blow that up, it's Syracuse.
Yeah, look at this past week. You had Virginia, who's only had one win in the ACC in the last couple of years. They knocked off the number 10 ranked North Carolina Tar Heels on Saturday. So
yeah. Well,
this league is anything. And I looked at the standings yesterday. Syracuse, bottom of the bowl, 0-3.
Yeah.
So, Smitty, do you know who they play after Boston College? It's my turn to ask questions now.
I think they play Pittsburgh at Yankee Stadium. Right?
November 11th.
And then they play Wake Forest.
They still have to play Wake Forest, but that's not the next game.
Oh, I only know the next three. Virginia Tech, Boston College, and Pittsburgh.
There you go.
Then Georgia Tech, Wake Forest.
Okay. Well, we've had our little quiz for the morning. Boy, the Bills. Oh, boy. Richard is looking wiser and wiser as time goes on with his predictions. And, you know, the Bills just had no – I mean, I get it. The offense gets off to a rough start 3 weeks in a row now. But the defense just – you just knew – I don't know what you were thinking, Davey, but the minute the minute the Bills took the lead, I'm like, you left too much time on the clock. They're going to march it right back down the field. The defense will not stop them, and we lose this game. And that is exactly what happened. You knew it was coming.
I was watching the game with my family, and I told them, I said, this game ain't over. There's 2 minutes left. And they said, you sure? I said, yeah, watch. New England drives down and scores the winning touchdown.
At will. They just move the ball all day long at will. The defense, I realize, is beaten up, but this defense is bad right now.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, I have a story and a half. This weekend we were in New York City. We went Friday to Saturday. We left Friday morning, coming home on Saturday, and we saw Billy Joel. I've had these tickets for a long time. The date finally comes up. We go to see Billy Joel. We went down with another couple from here, and I will get into it in a little bit. But you're not going to believe what happened to us this weekend. I feel like am I the magnet or am I the cheap metal? I don't know which I am, but it's like if there's bad luck out there, bad luck's going to follow me.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah.
What happened?
I thought I had bad luck.
No, Davey. It was unbelievable. And you won't even believe it when I tell you what happened. I don't think it's even hit the news up here. But
Excuse me?
I don't even think it's hit the news.
It's hit the news.
Nothing
yeah.
happened to your new vehicle, is that?
No, all's good
okay.
there. Let me take, we'll get into it in a second. I'll take Joe Load first, who's bright and early here this morning. Hello, Joe.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Bill.
Wise. He's wild and wide-eyed and bushy-tailed this morning.
Well, I just got done with a workout, so I'm pumped right up. But let me tell you something. How about them Cowboys yesterday?
You're on fire.
No, it was a bye week, but hey, a bye
sorry.
week's not a loss, so that's a win in my
I was going to say, I don't think
books,
they played.
The Jets didn't play either, too. Did they? Did they play over the weekend? No. All right. Well.
So, yeah, it was a rough day in football for a lot of teams, but the Bills, boy, they didn't look too good. And
they didn't.
I just wanted to call and say, I'm really excited about our little endeavor come January. We won't let the cat out of the bag as far as what's going on because I don't want anybody listening to hear because there are a few people that listen that, would find out. But it's kind of a surprise thing, but I'm excited about this.
Yeah, there's a lot of excitement coming up in January. What is it?
Very excited.
Do I know about it?
No, yes, I sent you the text message.
Wait a minute. I must not
You're
have gotten.
helping me out.
I am.
Oh,
I told you I would help you, but I forgot what it was all about. To be honest with you.
See, this is why I do reminder
But
calls.
you don't want to tell me on the air. Is that what you're saying?
No. But I do want to tell you I did secure my tickets to go see Jimmy Fallon and Kennedy, so I'm all excited about that, too.
Is it the big holiday party you're talking about?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know you'd want to promote that.
He doesn't.
No, I don't, but I'm just excited about it.
Well, I've got you hooked up on that. You're in good shape.
Okay.
That's why I was completely confused. I thought we were talking about some major promotion we were getting into.
No, I'll figure out a major promotion. I mean, if you want to get hyped up, this Friday we're doing free coffee at the Stewart's in Post Street in Boonville again.
That's
free
very
coffee
nice.
Friday.
That's very nice. Yeah, great. Head up to Boonville for free coffee.
We like our coffee in Boonville, and then they like to sit around and chit-chat. It's like little Mayberry. I love it up there.
I got to tell you, looking at these temperatures this week, I realized yesterday was very cool, and we didn't get the frost we thought we were going to get. It's actually a little warmer today than anybody expected. We were going to be in the low 30s. That was what they were calling for last week. Now we're looking at 70 Wednesday, 72 and 73 to close out the week before it gets rainy and cold again on the weekend. Do you know it's rained and been just nasty on the weekend for like 4 weeks in a row now?
There's a reason why I haven't covered my pool yet. I mean, it's going to be a great week to go swimming.
You might be able to warm that thing up and go swimming. There's no doubt about it. So, you know the rule, Joe. You close your pool cold, it'll open up crystal clear in the springtime.
Oh, I've been very lucky, and my little pool closing kit and my formula works every year. I love it.
Okay.
I won't jinx myself, but
right.
Every year I get nice crystal clear water.
All right, Joe. Well, we'll work on your big January promotion that we can't talk about. Other than that, go Dallas.
All right, you guys have a great morning.
All
I'll
right,
call
Joe.
you a little later anyway.
All right, we're looking forward to it. Okay.
Now,
Thank
when
you
you
Joe.
say, I don't have a pool, so it doesn't matter.
He's on
but
fire.
when you say close your pool cold,
You want the weather to be cold when you close your pool, and it won't turn green on you when you go to open it up in the springtime. At least
right?
that's been my experience.
Okay.
So take it for what it's
But
worth.
that's my question, because the water temperature is always cooler anyway, right? Or at least it feels that way. But what is cold? 40 is cold. Freezing is
I don't
cold.
know. Yeah, you want to.
55
listen, I've
is
closed
cold
it
with
when
cloudy
it's been
skies?
when it's been snowing out. But
Oh, yeah.
you can close it up. Usually, best way to close it is when you're down into the 40s, and that's kind of it's colder. The colder it is, the better it is when you close it.
Gotcha. Okay.
And then when you open in the springtime, you won't have that problem with algae in the green water. Also, you got to jack it up a little bit. Ours is salt water, so it's a different. It's a bit of a different experience and a different protocol. So,
okay.
You want to hear the story, Davey?
Yes.
Oh boy, you're not gonna.
I
You're
can't-
not going to believe this.
Okay. So just before you get into it here, we're going to continue to tease this, and I don't know what happened, but I've never had someone say to me when they're about to tell me a story, "Have you heard what did you hear what happened?" No. Yeah, because I don't think it hit the news up here yet.
Well, the good news is it does not include the news. It does not reference me, so that's a good thing.
Okay.
But it's in the news.
But your wife is on parole or
That's
being
right.
held behind bars.
Well, she wasn't able to come home. I got to tell you, this is incredible. So we go with another couple, and they're not used to going to New York City, so we kind of were setting everything up. But when that happens, you feel like responsible. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You feel like you want everything to be perfect. And when something goes wrong, even though it's out of your control, I don't know about anybody else, but I feel bad. I feel like responsible, like, oh, we let them down. And because you know what they're probably saying, it's like, I told you we shouldn't have gone to New York City. And but I don't think they did that. I mean, they were wonderful. But we wanted it to be perfect for them. So Friday we get down there, everything is, so we drive to Rensselaer. And we take the train down. That's our new protocol. The reason we do this is because if I didn't do it that way, my wife would say, she would put her foot down and say, well, you have to take the morning off and don't do the radio show. And I said, well, I do hate taking time off. And I realize I have a lot of vacation. I get it. So I don't like having to take time off. And we had Davey, you're back. Welcome back. We had a death in the family, which was very sad. And so I've missed time. So I'm not taking another day. So the reason is because you're up at 4 o'clock in the morning, and then you drive all the way down, and you're falling asleep. You're trying to take that 5-hour drink, which works really well, by the way. Or you're drinking, quadruple espressos. You've seen that, witnessed it on the way back from New York City once.
I've never seen anyone climb the cliffs on the thruway that quickly. I really haven't.
So all right. So anyway, we take the train to Rensselaer, and then we drive to Rensselaer, take the train into the city, Uber over to the hotel. Everything is good, and the train allows me. What I like is, I can do a few things. I can get my laptop out. Everything goes really well. Trip down, perfect. We see Billy Joel. Do you know he's 74 years old?
I didn't know.
Do you know his daughters are like 3 and 6?
No way.
Do you know his wife is 40? His daughters were on camera at the concert at Madison Square Garden, and it was cute little girls, spunky. One of them's kind of spunky. The other one was playing along. The youngest one seems kind of like she has quite an attitude, and it might have been her birthday, which is why they were there at the show. Anyway, yeah, Billy Joel, 74, kids like 4 and 6 or something like that.
Wow.
Yeah. Go Billy, right?
It's never too late.
It's never too late. Anyway, and I'm glad Craig Flint is on the line because I want to get to him on this coming up. So we get into New York City. Everything's good. We go to the Billy Joel show. Excellent. Tomorrow we're leaving at 3:40 p.m. We'll be able to spend a little time with my daughter. 3:40, we get on the train. We come home. It gives me the rest of the weekend to do stuff. I'm home early Saturday night. I like that. And so all is good until around 12 noon. We get an alert from Amtrak, and it says obstruction delay. I don't even know what that is. Do you know what that is?
Well, it could be an Animal Crossing that got
Could
hit.
be.
Could be a tragic situation.
Obstruction delay.
Could be a tree went down.
So now we get on the app, and I see just like it was, like you were looking at one of those ticker boards when you're at the big train stations.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, and then boom, cancel, 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 cancel. Every train from New York to Albany was canceling. And every train canceled. So we called, and they said, yes, there's a problem with debris on the tracks somewhere between the city and Albany. And, okay, but we can reschedule you for tomorrow, Sunday, for the exact same time. Now, that means you got to get another hotel room, right? So, all right, maybe that's what we do. We end up booking the hotel for another night. We'll spend another night. We'll come back on Sunday. There goes my Sunday.
Now, is this other couple? They're on the train with you, or
they're with us, and they were like, you know what? Okay, we'll make this work. We're going to make this work. We'll work out the babysitters. We're going to make it work.
Okay.
So now Sunday came along, 10 o'clock. We get the alert. The train has been canceled again.
No.
Turns out, and we'll talk to Craig Flint about this, in Westchester County, they got storms on Saturday, midday, bad storms. And these people look like they have a beautiful house with a pool, and they're right on a cliff. Half of their backyard fell right. It was a huge mudslide, and trees and everything went right onto the tracks.
No kidding.
Unbelievable sight. So we're down. All right, well, what am I going to do? I look at flights. These guys don't necessarily love to fly. So flying is out.
Oh, my goodness.
So now I'm like, well, we'll get a rental car. We should be able to get like an SUV because remember, there's 4 of us and luggage. So a car is out. It's got to be a rental SUV. There are no rental cars or SUVs available from New York to Albany. You know why? Because everybody who was taking a train from New York to Albany rented a car. Well, we're going to have to do what we have to do. We're going to have to take a bus. All buses are sold out.
Oh, man.
No cars, no buses. We could have taken a plane, but that option is out. There is no way out of New York City. Now, this is Sunday afternoon. I'm trying to figure out how do I get us home. And ultimately, we were able to get a don't even ask about this one, but ultimately, because we had to have an SUV.
Oh, my God.
We got a town car, an SUV, with a driver, though. There was no rental available.
I thought you were going to. So worse. You Ubered, basically.
Well,
Then
Uber,
some.
we couldn't get an Uber to take the deal. We got it, but you know how much the Uber was going to be? $890 to Uber to Albany.
And he wouldn't take the deal?
And he wouldn't take the deal. Every time I went to click on confirm, they canceled and wouldn't accept the offer. So nobody wanted to drive, because once you drive up there, you got to drive back. Nobody wanted to do it. So luckily, we work with a car service down there already, made a call to them, and we were able to get the car service, and we were able to split it 2 ways, which helped. But that was our only, short of having someone from up here come down and pick us up and then go home, our only ride home, that was our only ride home. So
wow,
we took a car from New York to Albany and got home. But it could have been worse. But it was one thing after another. This mudslide's something to see. I mean, it was right along the tracks, and you could just see where a whole enormous chunk of these people's backyard came right down, trees and all, right onto the railroad tracks.
I was going to say, now that's a serious issue. I thought maybe some storm debris, like some branches came down. This sounds like a big deal.
Yeah, Craig Flint is on the line right now. Craig, good morning.
What a nightmare that sounds like.
It was Listen,
Keeler.
when was the last time you called like Avis and they're like, sorry, we have no cars available?
Well, like you said, everybody was. I was listening to you tell the story, and I had one of my friends that was kind of the opposite of that. He was trying to get in the city, and his train got canceled.
Yeah,
because he was going on a cruise, so there was no way he wasn't getting to the city.
Right, you have the rule on going to a cruise. My wife's rule is you always have to leave the night before because there will always be a problem getting there on time. It just seems to be that way. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I understand, people are against flying, but geez, you think they could have, I don't know. So, I mean, that's not a long flight.
It is true, although I got to tell you, the winds yesterday were whipping. And I said to my wife, I'm so glad we didn't talk them into doing a plane because it would have been a little plane, and it would have been an adventure flying into Albany.
Would have been a tin can.
Yeah. We'd have been blowing all over the place. So, because driving in the car up yesterday was the SUV was blowing all over the road. So you can only imagine what it would have been like in one of those little prop airplanes coming up.
Sure,
But
for sure.
nonetheless, we ended up getting home, and but you just, which is why I'm saying to my wife, I like driving to the city. If had I driven, we would have had no problem at all. We'd have been home without a problem.
Yeah.
So this couple that you went with, did you talk them into? No, come on, take the train.
Yes.
That's the thing.
Yes,
that's the part.
So we felt very responsible. Like,
no, it's not a big. Watch how easy it is.
So
it's so
easy.
convenient.
We've never had a problem. This is the way in and
people
out.
love it.
Yeah.
Tell you get in, you get out. It's no trouble. You don't have to worry about traffic. You just got to worry about mudslides.
That's exactly right.
Exactly.
Of all things, a mudslide? Are you kidding me?
Yeah. Yeah, well, it's going to take a lot to clean that up, I'm sure.
I would imagine. Now, the governor's made an announcement Sunday that said we're going to do everything we can to get – because, that's a major thoroughfare for people working in Albany and working in government. A lot of people from the city come up every single day on the train.
I can't remember the reason, but I had done a story on this like 6 months ago. But that New York to Albany was shut down for – an incredible amount of time.
Remember what happened is there was a derailment that happened.
That was it. Yeah, it was shut. It was down for a while, and then it was like breaking news. They were considering, bringing back. I think the Albany to the North Country one as well.
Can I just have to say, Craig, and I know you've probably been around and traveled as well, but we as America is so far behind when it comes to public transportation, especially with rail. And if you go to Europe, they have that high-speed rail. These trains are going 225 miles an hour, and you feel like you're gliding. You don't feel and you take a train in New York, and you're jerking back and forth. It's not the smoothest ride in the world, I'll tell you. But we're behind. We're behind the eight ball here.
Yeah, well, you went to see Billy Joel, and he has the New York State of Mind song that he's riding the Hudson River line. So there you go.
It's exactly right. The Hudson River line. It's just unbelievable. So
that's a great show, by the way.
It was an awesome show. It was wonderful, and I can't believe he's 74 years old and
has 4 and 5 and 6-year-old kids.
Yep. On top of that, and he had the stamina to do a 2.5 hour show.
Sure.
It was pretty cool. So
yeah.
All right. Now the good news is we had it has rained. I think, and I could be wrong, but I think we've had bad weekends for what now? 4 weekends in a row?
7.
7. It's been unbelievable.
Yep. It's basically been since Labor Day weekend. Labor Day weekend was the last completely dry weekend we had from start to finish. Since then, it has either been day or rain on one or both of the weekend days. So it's been quite a stretch. In the world of meteorology, that's what we call a pattern, right?
Yeah.
So you can just kind of plan for it that it's going to rain on the weekend. Unfortunately, now the good news is looking ahead. Things get a little shaky after days, but looking ahead, it looks like it might not be as bad getting into this coming weekend.
Okay, well, I got to say, getting into the weekend looks like it's a nice little warm-up.
Oh, yeah. Here we go again.
Yeah.
So, we were talking about windy, chilly weather yesterday. Snowed up in the Adirondacks. Not much, but still, just the time of the year. And then by midweek here, and starting as early as tomorrow, we ascend into the 60s and then into the 70s as we go into mid and late week. We might scale it back a little bit on Thursday, but then we rebound again on Friday. And in terms of wet weather, it doesn't look like a lot of rain. Even as we get into the weekend, it doesn't look like a lot of rain, but probably a few showers around. So
even tomorrow we warm up into the 60s. I mean, this week doesn't look all that bad. It gives you that if, you kind of had a feeling like with the weather this weekend that wow, this is going to be it. We're going to go into really 40s is going to be the new norm, and sure enough, we get surprised with this. But yeah, I wasn't sure of how many weekends, but you begin to tally up. Like it gets to the weekend and it gets nasty, and so maybe we can break that trend. That would be nice.
I'm hoping. We'll see. There could be a few showers around as we get into the weekend, but it doesn't look like anything we just went through.
Okay.
Beyond this coming weekend, it could get a little iffy again around Halloween.
Okay, yeah.
We will see about that.
All right. Okay, Craig, very interesting stuff. We appreciate your time. And by the way, did your friend make the cruise?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
She's on her way.
Beautiful.
So,
to better weather.
We're good to go, and glad you made it back. And I wonder if your friends are gonna believe you next time. Be like, yeah, we're not falling for that again. We're not taking any trains into the city.
I gotta say, we said to them when we were pulling our luggage out of the car and going to get our vehicles, and they said, you know what? We think we might do it again if you guys are interested. So there you go. There you have it. So, all right, good stuff, Craig. Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Take care.
Meteorologist Craig Flint with WUTR. Let me take Mike and Skyler quickly on Billy Joel. Hey, Mike, good morning.
Hey, how you doing?
Great show. And by the way, he's just added a few more. This is the tail end of his Madison Square Garden. Would you call it a what do they call those when they stay? Anyway, I think we're nearing the end, but they keep adding shows. His 71st birthday show.
Residency?
A residency.
Oh, yeah,
His 75th birthday show has been added for May, I think. So what's going on, man?
He did 35 songs in there, huh? That's a lot.
And they were not your medley type. They were the real deal. It was really a great show.
He did some Halloween stuff in there.
He did a little Halloween stuff. He did had a little fun. I mean, it was. I mean, the guy he's still able to kill it at 74 years old.
It's awesome. It's funny because I saw it too. He opened that net. He opened with that Natural. He did the same thing when I saw him in '93 with the Randy Newman song.
Yeah,
the opening title in there. That's awesome. Yeah, I saw him twice.
Well, I've also seen him a few times before, and seen him with Billy or with Elton John as well. This is just the Billy Joel event, and it's cool to see a show because there's not a bad seat at Madison Square Garden. It's really, no matter where you are, you got a good seat, and the sound is really, really good there. So
that's awesome.
All right, good stuff there, Michael. Have a wonderful week.
You too.
All right, man. Thanks so much. You see, Mike, what he was doing there, he's going off the set list, which is always available online. The problem with following Billy Joel's set list is he does a different show every time. He doesn't follow a lot of these shows. You can see a set list, and 99% of the songs they do are exactly the same in the same order as what they did the night before, the night before, the night before. But Billy Joel is different every single time. 6:48. Stephen, stand by. I'll get to you in a second. He has a news update here this morning. It's 6:49, Davey, at WIBX.
By texting 64,000, you agree to receive recurring automated marketing messages from Babbel. Message and data rates may apply. No purchase required. Terms apply. Available at babbel.com/TNC.
We're going abroad for the first time in years. To Spain. So we started using Babbel.
And started learning Spanish fast.
With Babbel, you can start having conversations in another language in just 3 weeks. Babbel's conversational method teaches you real-life words and phrases. And with Babbel's interactive bite-sized lessons, you'll remember what you learned.
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿De dónde eres?
¿De dónde eres? In just 3 weeks, we're starting to have conversations in Spanish.
Estoy muy emocionado para ir a España contigo.
Aw, he just said, I'm very excited to go to Spain with you. Nos vamos a divertir mucho.
And that means we're going to have a lot of fun.
Sí. Gracias, Babbel.
Babbel, language for life. And now try Babbel for free by texting WORLD to 64,000. Text WORLD to 64,000. That's WORLD to 64,000.
We're going abroad for the first time in years. To Spain.
But we don't speak Spanish.
So we started using Babbel.
And started learning Spanish fast.
With Babbel, you can start having conversations in another language in just 3 weeks. Babbel's conversational method teaches you real-life words and phrases. And with Babbel's interactive bite-sized lessons, you'll remember what you learned.
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿De dónde eres?
¿De dónde eres?
When you learn a language, you want to actually use it. Babbel is designed with that goal in mind.
In just 3 weeks, we're starting to have conversations in Spanish.
Estoy muy emocionado para ir a España contigo.
Aw, he just said, I'm very excited to go to Spain with you. Nos vamos a divertir mucho.
And that means we're going to have a lot of fun.
Sí. Gracias, Babbel.
Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. Just go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Hi, it's Joe Carbone from Power Sports of Utica. It's our end of the model year blowout sale. With over 450 units for sale. Save up to $3,500 on side-by-sides, $3,000 on snowmobiles, $3,000 on watercraft, up to $2,000 on 4x4s, financing as low as 1.99. Save thousands on all used inventory. Save up to 70% on general merchandise. October 16th through the 28th.
What's for dinner? Burgers?
After last week, no thanks.
Avoiding foods due to fear of diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose, oily stools? It may not be just stomach issues. It could be EPI, or exocrine pancreatic insufficiency. EPI can cause uncomfortable symptoms because it's a condition where the pancreas doesn't release enough digestive enzymes to break down food. But EPI can be managed. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and talk to your doctor about your symptoms. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM. This is Keeler.
It's 6:52. I swear to God.
I know.
And the hits just keep on coming. Da-da-da. Okay, let's see. I have a couple of comments here regarding bad news and the magnitude difference. Davey is just the trailer. You are the main movie. Okay, thank you, Mike. Our rail system is so bad that if the migrants rode on it, they would say, wow, it's just like home.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I got to say that the one I do like I love taking the train because I love just sitting there working on stuff. But there are times on the trip where the trek is so rough. You're trying to work on your laptop, but your computer's like going left and right. And you're trying to hit the keys. It becomes like a video game, trying to hit the right key. But for the most part, it's good. And maybe upstate New York, our weather makes it really difficult, right? Our roads are filled with potholes.
Well, doesn't it rain a lot in Europe? I mean,
I
they
can
get
just
winter
tell you
too,
we're
don't they?
We're doing 225 miles an hour on a train, and you wouldn't even know you were moving.
Listen. Don't take what I'm about to say to dispute in any regard that we're behind in this technology. And I'm just surprised. It does kind of surprise me because, like, I remember Obama was big on this, right? Obama was
high-speed rail.
Talked about it a lot.
And you know what?
And whoever was our governor at the time, must have been Cuomo, was big on this.
Cuomo was on, but nobody ever did anything with it. And you know what? And actually, you know who's always been a huge proponent of it is Obika here, saying if we were to do high-speed rail from here to New York City, it would really change everything. You literally could work in New York City every day and get home at a decent hour each night.
Yeah. So the last train I was on was one of those beer and wine trains that went from like here to.
That's that's a classic Adirondack rail train.
Correct. So, but the way you're describing it, with the
feels like
rocking
that.
back and forth.
Well,
I had the impression that we were at least going like $1.50 on our trains, and you're zipping down there. No, what we were doing 65.
I will tell you that
you drive faster than the trains.
That the train, the stretch when you get up to Hudson Valley, the tracks seem newer.
Okay,
and it's and I don't know what it is, but they'll go from like 60 miles an hour, 65 miles an hour, 70 miles an hour to 99, 100. Well, they'll crack like 100, 101 on that stretch going into New York, the last stretch, and the last stretch going into Albany. They hit about 100, but that only lasts for a little while. For the rest of the trip, you're doing about 75, 80 on the trip at its normal speed, about 80 miles an hour.
Is it at the end of the day? Is it time efficient? For instance, if you were to drive,
absolutely time efficient.
How long does it take you to get it from Albany to?
I'm going to tell you. You can pull into the station 5 minutes, 7 minutes before your train is leaving.
Be perfect for me.
And you run in. It's better if you give yourself a little more time. But you get on the train, and you're not going through. Maybe this is a problem. You're not going through security or any of that. You just get on the train, and away you go. And about 2 hours and change later, you're at Penn Station. So it's about a 2-hour trip. And now, if you're driving to Rensselaer, I will tell you, leaving from Utica extends the trip significantly, turns it into more of a 4 to 5 hour trip, depending on what your layover is in Albany, and the price goes up significantly.
Okay.
So that's why we feel
you guys drive
some people will take the metro down from Poughkeepsie, as opposed to Amtrak. They'll drive to Poughkeepsie and take the train down, which is even less expensive and quicker, but you're driving to Poughkeepsie.
No, which is like 2.5 hours. Yeah,
right.
As opposed to an hour and a half.
We'd
to
rather
Albany.
do about an hour and 15-minute home to, from Albany.
So I find that amazing. When I go to the county office building to pay my tax bill, I have to take my belt off. I get on a train. Come on in.
The funny thing is on the train is they don't even check your ticket till the train's moving.
It's so odd.
So if somebody, and we had someone on a train that didn't have a ticket, and he was hopping a ride, and they were like, all right, well, you're going to be getting off at the next stop. So they kicked him off on the next stop.
Well, they kicked him off, but he gets that portion of the ride for free. They don't call the police or anything. I'm surprised it doesn't happen more often.
Away he went, and that was the end of it.
The next time I see one of those guys at the intersection in Utica, downtown there, I'm going to say, hey, buddy, I got a hot tip for you. You can get a free train ride.
That's what you can. It's not going to go that far, but you can get a free train ride. Tom on High Speed Rail. Hi, Tom. Good morning.
They had a couple of plans for High Speed Rail that they were putting forth here in upstate New York, and one was a kind of limited high-speed rail. It was just higher than it is right now, and it would surely stop in Utica.
Right.
But the real honest-to-goodness high-speed rail, like that 225 you were talking about, there were no assurances that Utica would be a stop.
That would be that would be a real, because the beauty of the high-speed rail is it's usually from major city to major city, London to Paris. And those trips don't like to stop. They like to go point to point.
All you have to do is look at the 20th Century Limited back in the in the 50s, 40s, 30s. It didn't stop in Utica.
Yeah.
It kept barreling through on its route from New York to Chicago. It didn't stop here. Empire State Express did. The Lakeshore Limited did. The Wolverine did. But not the big fast.
That's a very good point. That's it. My guess is it may be Albany to Syracuse to Buffalo is what we would see for high-speed rail. So,
well, but here's the thing, though. If it's right on the route, if it's like you don't have to get off.
The key to the high-speed rail is you're doing 200 miles an hour. And if you got to keep stopping, the reason train service is slower is because you keep stopping at every train station.
Can you imagine the fit that? Well, we should really have a fit if we put all that money into that.
It doesn't stop here.
Down at a transportation hub, and then they skipped us.
Oh, that would be. I'm almost out of time, Tom. I apologize, but you're absolutely right. We would be up in arms, but my guess is it wouldn't stop here.
I'm going to fight for our spot on the train map. Utica deserves.
Stephen, I promise you, I'll take you right out of news if you hang on. So hang there. I know you want to talk about tonight. We'll get to it coming up. WIBX Utica Rome. It is 7 o'clock.
We're a real city.
More airstrikes, more aid. I'm Chris Foster, Fox News. The Israeli military reports hitting 320 targets in Gaza overnight. A third aid convoy is on its way in for Palestinian civilians. The United Nations aid chief says it's not much, but a glimmer of hope. A bipartisan group of 10 senators is in Israel.
South Carolina Republican Lindsey Graham said in Israel the Hamas attack was Iran's doing, and the U.S. cannot allow Iran to succeed.
For Iran to fail, Israel must destroy Hamas. For Iran to fail, the Palestinians must have a better life.
Connecticut Democrat Richard Blumenthal added Iran should think carefully about its next step.
If you're thinking about giving the green light to Hezbollah, as you did to Hamas, don't.
Gernal Scott, Fox News.
Police in Detroit say they found no evidence that a 40-year-old synagogue president was stabbed to death because she was Jewish, saying they have no known motive and no suspects are identified. Samantha Walls described her at her funeral as a kind, caring, compassionate, sincere, loving, and tenacious woman of faith.
This was not an opinion. This was a fact.
Michigan Attorney General Dana Nessel. Samantha Wall was 40 years old. House Republicans are starting from scratch, trying to elect a new House Speaker. Kevin McCarthy was voted out nearly 3 weeks ago. Steve Scalise dropped out before any votes on the House floor, and Jim Jordan couldn't get enough votes to win. Now, 9 Republicans have put themselves out there as candidates.
Tonight will yet again be another candidate forum for House Republicans as the party tries to pick its 4th nominee for Speaker of the House this year. The Speaker pro tem, Patrick McHenry, hopes to have a floor vote Tuesday. Whatever candidate wins can only afford to lose a few Republican votes if Democrats all vote for their party's nominee because of the slim GOP majority in the House. On Capitol Hill, Ryan Schmelz, Fox News.
Chevron is buying one of its smaller rival oil companies, Hess, for $53 billion. America's listening to Fox News.
All right, Christmas will be here before we know it. If you're looking for a really special gift, I encourage you to check out the firearms made right here in America by our great friends at Henry Repeating Arms. Now, you start by going to their website, henryusa.com, order their free holiday gift guide, and they'll mail it with free decals that you can use for stocking stuffers. Perfect timing. Folks, when you give someone a Henry, you're giving them a work of art that is built with the finest craftsmanship I've ever seen as a collector. Now, their performance is top-notch. Mine were accurate, all of them, right out of the box. They shoot smooth and straight, and they have been reliable ever since. They have over 200 models of rifles and shotguns and revolvers to choose from. One of the things I like the most about these firearms, they're family heirlooms. They'll always be backed by the company's lifetime warranty. So if you want to put something that's made in America under the tree this Christmas, henryusa.com. Get their free gift guide and their decals today. That's henryusa.com. You will love this company.
We have mostly cloudy skies, 42 degrees, WIBX News Time, 7:03. This news update is brought to you by My Carl's. Buy it today, have it today. Power lift chairs in stock from just $4.99, and they have a huge selection. My Carl's and the New Hartford Shopping Center. The New York State Department of Motor Vehicles and the DEC are reminding people to keep a close eye out for moose and deer while you are commuting. Data from the University at Albany's Institute for Traffic Safety Management and Research shows that 41% of all crashes involving deer and vehicles happen in October through December. Animals are typically most active at dawn and dusk. Safety tips can be found online at dmv.ny.gov. Another question about your vehicles: what color car gets the most speeding tickets across New York State? I know many of you said red, and that was my first guess as well. But according to the American Auto Insurance Company, the vehicle color that gets pulled over more than any other is... Smitty knows.
White.
Yes, it is. How'd you know? Because you get pulled over all the time. I'm just kidding. Go ahead. It's white. Well, I was joking, Smitty. Oh, boy, now he's mad at me. It was a joke, bud. Oh, you are mad. You won't look at me. Oh, boy. Okay. Airports across New York State getting a huge chunk of funding, $49 million, in fact. South Albany Airport is set to receive the largest amount at $2.5 million. Other airports that will get money for various projects include Albany International, Columbia County, and Saratoga County. State leaders say these investments have a long-lasting impact on communities while improving transportation infrastructure. WIBX News Time, 7:05, your Weather Center forecast coming to you from Eyewitness News. Chilly start here as we continue with highs a little below average, but we will warm it up later this week. We are looking at a mix of clouds and sunshine for this afternoon with a high today reaching 53 degrees. Partly cloudy skies overnight tonight and cold, a low falling back to 35. Tuesday, we could see some frost early in the morning, otherwise mostly sunny for the rest of the day with a high of 65. Wednesday, partly sunny and a high in the low 70s. Right now, we have cloudy skies, 41 degrees, WIBX News Time, 7:05. Sports coming to you from the IBEW 43 local sports desk. Smitty, stay tuned. You're going to have to stop being mad at me for a second because I'm going to come to you for some information. The Buffalo Bills, unfortunately, came back against the Patriots yesterday, but then couldn't stop the comeback by the Pats. They drove down the field on their final possession and scored a touchdown. The Bills lose in New England, a final of 29-25. The Bills now drop to 4-3 on the season. The Giants picked up a win against the Commanders, 14-7. It was the second win of the year for the G-Men. Sunday Night Football last night. Jalen Hurts, 279 yards and 2 touchdowns as the Eagles defeated the Dolphins 31-27 on Sunday Night Football. Hurts found A.J. Brown for a go-ahead 14-yard score as Philadelphia moved to 6-1. The Ravens making a statement yesterday as well. They beat up on the Lions 38-6. The Chiefs earned their 6th consecutive victory over the Chargers 31-17. Week 7 wraps up tonight, a game you can hear right here on WIBX. The Minnesota Vikings host the San Francisco 49ers on Monday Night Football. Baseball playoffs. The American League Championship Series heads to a deciding Game 7 tonight. The Texas Rangers beat the Astros 9-2 in Game 6 yesterday. Adolis Garcia added a grand slam in the 9th to make the score look like a real blowout. Jonah Heim and Mitch Garver also homered as well. The series wraps up with a deciding Game 7 in Houston tonight, as I mentioned. In Philadelphia, they hope it is the deciding game tonight. The Phils square off against the Arizona Diamondbacks. They lead the series 3-2. And any predictions here for World Series?
I really would like to see Texas
Me
and
too.
Arizona.
Houston and Arizona, huh?
No,
Texas and Arizona.
But it's probably going to end up being Houston, Philadelphia like last year.
Yeah, I don't want to see
The
a
only thing
rematch.
is I don't want to see the Astros win. I really like to see the Phillies win if the Phillies make it because it'd be 2 ex-Yankees coaches will get World Series rings. Kevin Long is the hitting coach, and Rob Thompson was the bench coach when Joe Girardi was manager of the Yankees.
Some more baseball news. The Giants could be targeting Bob Melvin as their new manager. ESPN says San Francisco will interview Melvin after he was given permission by the San Diego Padres to do so. Melvin is currently under contract with the Padres for one more season, but San Diego missed the postseason after a disappointing 82-80 season. He joined San Diego back in 2022 after a long stint with the Oakland A's. NASCAR updates, Smitty.
Christopher Bell wins at Miami Homestead. He qualifies for the one of the 4 drivers for the championship.
Utica Pioneers kick off the season kick off their regular season, I should say, on Friday night at the Adirondack Bank Center. They'll take on Adrian. This past weekend, they lost to the 18U Team USA. It was an 8-1 final.
Yeah, and the Comets lost a heartbreaker on Saturday, 2-1, so they're 0-3 to begin the season. I believe they come back home on Saturday. They have their next home game.
Yes, they lost 2-1 in overtime. Without a victory, the Comets have picked up 2 points. They'll play Friday at Syracuse, and they're back in Utica on Saturday to host Rochester. WIBX News Time, 7:09. It is First News Keeler in the morning, WIBX.
Hard work has never come so easy. That's what you'll say when you take on a job with a New Holland all-purpose tractor from Clinton Tractor. Whether a Workmaster Utility, Power Star, T5, or T6 tractor, you'll maximize your productivity with exceptional power, convenience, and comfort. Buy now and take advantage of 0% financing for 60 months or cash back on these 45 to 126 PTO horsepower models. Offer ends soon.
We are the leader in service, Clinton Tractor. wireless headphones. That'll be $200.
I'll use my Capital One Quicksilver card.
Now that's a hit. You used the Capital One Quicksilver card, which makes you the hero of every purchase. With Quicksilver, you earn unlimited 1.5% cash back on every purchase everywhere.
I wanted running music, but unlimited 1.5% cash back is pretty heroic.
Good instincts. Every hero needs a theme song. The Capital One Quicksilver card. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Are you sick of being just a number or doing a mindless job? Become a craftsman in a trade. Become an IBEW electrician. The IBEW and the Electrician Training Alliance will give you all the tools necessary at their state-of-the-art training facility. Earn as you learn. Paid training while you get your certification. What are you waiting for? Become an IBEW Local 43 electrician. Call or go online today to learn more. Find your career at IBEW and let the Electrician Training Alliance light up your future.
He called it a historic budget. Historic because Piceni hasn't raised the Oneida County tax rate in 11 years. Michael Hennessy would like to remind you that in his 17 years in office, Piceni never lowered the tax rate. And his historic budget doesn't raise the tax rates because he can't. Oneida County is operating at the maximum allowable sales tax rate by New York state law. Now you can make a historic difference. Vote Michael Hennessy, the true independent candidate that can stop the historic spending. The historic spending that goes up year after year after year. It's what generational politicians always seem to do. Spend more of your money. Be a historic hero. Vote Michael Hennessy for county executive.
I'm Michael Hennessy, asking you to make the difference. Vote Michael Hennessy, November 7th. Thank you.
Hi, it's James.
And Megan.
From the all-new Destination Kia of Utica.
And during our grand opening sales event, we have smoking deals on new Kias.
That's right. We were just able to get a truckload of new 2023 Kia Sportage LX all-wheel drive SUVs.
And you can lease one for just $388 per month for 36 months.
And that's with just $995 plus tax to its signing.
An all-wheel drive SUV that gets 32 miles per gallon highway?
Now that's kooky. It's just one example of the deals on over 250 new Kias, here and coming.
So go kooky for Kia at the all-new Destination Kia of Utica. Puppies and babies not included.
2023 Kia Sportage LX all-wheel drive, NP7206025, MSRP $29,950, 36 months, 30,000 mile lease, 20 cents per mile over, $995 plus tax and fees due at inception, $0 security deposit, $650 acquisition fee included in payment structure, $400 disposition fee, 720 plus FICO score. Kia January to December 2022 sales report. EPA rating. Offer expires 10/31/2023.
Hi, it's Joe Carbone from Power Sports of Utica. It's our end of the model year blowout sale. With over 450 units for sale. Save up to $3,500 on side-by-sides, $3,000 on snowmobiles, $3,000 on watercraft, up to $2,000 on 4x4s, financing as low as 1.99. Save thousands on all used inventory. Save up to 70% on general merchandise. October 16th through the 28th.
Hun, we need to stop putting off getting life insurance.
I know. It's just been so busy, and I'm sure the cost is out of our budget.
Well, Jen told me that they got a $500,000 term life insurance policy from Ethos for less than $23 a month. All online with no complicated forms and no medical exam. All they had to do was answer a few health questions.
Wait, no medical exam and all online?
I know, right? It's not easy to think about, but if something happened to you, James and I would be...
Okay, I get it. Let's get a quote from Ethos right now. Wow, you were right. There's no medical exam, and Ethos makes the whole online process fast and easy. And look at these rates and coverage options. It's great protection and totally fits our budget.
Ethos. They've removed all the barriers from getting coverage. Go to checkethos.com to get your free online quote. That's checkethos.com. Quote based on a healthy, non-smoking 30-year-old male with a 20-year term policy. Rates may vary.
WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM. This is Keeler.
Hi, good morning. It's, wow, you realize we're in the final week of October. for the most part.
What's Halloween's what, Monday?
Monday or Tuesday. I believe it's Tuesday.
Yeah, it must be Tuesday.
So, and then Election Day would be that following Tuesday. But early voting starts on Saturday.
This Saturday.
The 28th. In studio right now is she is running for mayor as the Democratic candidate, Celeste Friend. Good morning.
Morning, Bill. Morning, Jeff.
Morning.
All right, what is our issue? Our issue is there are a couple things going on right now. There's a lot of back and forth happening. So let's talk about those. First of all, we had a call. Who was our call on?
Steve Rafaro.
Steve Rafaro called in and has questioned you had said you were endorsed by the teachers union, and he has questioned that. How do you respond to that?
So I'm endorsed by the New York State United Teachers, which is a statewide union made up of all of the individual unions that represent teachers in various school districts. So NYSET is made up of the UTA, the Utica Teachers Association, the New Hereford Teachers Association, so on and so forth.
Right.
So I was endorsed by the sort of umbrella organization, and because I knew that this controversy, so I'm handing Jeff right now the actual official endorsement letter that I got by email.
But the Utica Teachers Association, the UTA, has not endorsed.
They
Is that
don't
correct?
directly endorse, but they are part of the organization that did endorse.
Right, okay.
So I'm going to, because there was this confusion, I actually reached out to Ian Phillips, he's the regional political organizer, to say, hey, can you explain this for me? What did I say that was wrong, right? And this is his response. So I said, hi, Ian, my team here is trying to clarify something. We know we're endorsed by NYSET. Does that mean we're endorsed by the UTA? I understand that the UTA cannot endorse on their own independently of NYSET, but is it fair for us to say that we're endorsed by UTA? This is his response. Celeste, apologies for the confusion, but understandable. We are relatively new to making endorsements in local races, and given our structure as a union made up of hundreds of separate locals, it can be It can be confusing. We endorsed you at a NYSET regional PAC meeting in which many locals, including UTA, were present. So it is a regional NYSET endorsement. UTA has not endorsed separately. Now, and then, so that I'm handing that to Jeff as well.
Thank
so
you
that's
so
my
much.
email back and forth between Ian and I. And this is the press release we put out upon the NYSET endorsement. So when I got the initial endorsement, I wrote them, this is standard, and say, hey, can you give us a quote for our press release? And the quote that they gave us was from Scott Rogowski, who is the president of our local UTA. So we can nitpick this. We could nitpick this for the next 3 hours if we really want.
So wait a minute. The president of UTA,
Scott Rogowski.
And what letter did you receive from him?
I got a quote from him to include in my press release.
When she asked NYSET, or she asked it's the NYSET Regional Political Action Committee. When she reached out for a quote to send a press release, they included a quote from Scott Rogowski, who's the UTA president.
What does the UTA president say?
NYSET is proud to have a fellow educator like Celeste running for Utica mayor. She knows that public schools unite Utica, and she'll bring her experience as an educator and community leader to all of Utica as our next mayor.
Then I think there's no issue here.
Is there a mountain instead of a molehill?
I don't even think there's anything. I feel like...
Oh, can I get that one back? I just want to read a clip of that.
It happens oftentimes when a union will endorse, and some members... Maybe many members of a union may not agree with that, but the union leadership.
But that's always the case.
But here's the thing, though. Again, it's not. UTA did not endorse her.
My point is, the endorsement is covered by NYSET, which there's NYSET is the umbrella for all of the individual unions. My wife is a part of NYSET, so NYSET will endorse statewide. It always has. But to me, the fact that NYSET made an endorsement and it includes a quote from the UTA president, I say that legitimizes the endorsement.
Oh, yeah, no,
I agree. It makes it more local than we initially had thought. We initially thought this was just NYSET, the statewide, but their endorsement includes a quote from the UTA president.
And the meeting at which they voted to endorse had representatives from UTA at that meeting.
Correct. And for that reason, politically, I would say to Mr. Ruffero that I think he should have dug in a little deeper on this and known the answer. It's kind of like an attorney. You want to know the answer before you answer the question because, and I'll say this, Celeste, your announcement of the teachers union endorsement flew over my head like every other endorsement does.
Sure.
I feel these endorsements tend to be very meaningless. But let me finish. But the fact that now we've turned it into an issue is making everybody focus in on a spotlight. And at the end of the whole thing, you're like, well, yeah, it was NICET, but it included basically an endorsement of the endorsement from the UTA president.
Right.
So to me, this becomes more of an issue of every move you make, they're coming after you. And I feel like this issue, in a nutshell, benefited you more than it benefited
Every
Mr.
move
Galimi.
she makes.
And just
Isn't
my
there a
take.
song for that? Can we find that video clip,
Now-
that audio clip? I think you're absolutely right. And the other thing is, this stuff is what people like you and me and Steve Ruffero and other people in the political class and the political, the people who are tuned into politics care about. I don't think the voters, the average voters out there, care. They want to know, are my streets going to be safe? Are my kids going to have things to do after school? How am I going to get my road paved? That's what the voters of Utica care about.
Yeah.
And time again, I end up, and this isn't a criticism of you, I have to talk about these nitpicky things because every move she makes.
Julie says you still can't say UTA endorsed her because they didn't. The president is not the organization. Did you say UTA endorsed? I don't remember what was said.
I might have said it on the radio.
Okay.
And
NICET endorsed you, and
my press release didn't say it. I've never written it anywhere. I think I said it casually on here with you.
my point is, from a political strategist standpoint, I'd have let this one go.
And if you don't want to belong to an organization that might endorse, in a way that isn't completely in line with your political views, don't belong to an organization.
Well, no, but hold on, though.
Well,
so
in
someone shouldn't be a
UTA
teacher because they might endorse someone they don't like?
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying don't.
You don't have to be a union
I'm saying
member
not.
today.
You're never going to get 100% agreement in endorsing
Correct.
bodies.
Yeah, no, I agree
so,
with that.
So accept the fact that if you belong to a union, sometimes they may endorse the person you don't like. That's going to happen
and
sometimes.
today, based on new regulations, new laws, a person does not have to join. Used to have to join the union, but about 3 or 4 years ago, that was changed under the Trump administration. I believe this is where this came from. But you can opt out of being in the union. But beyond all of that, you're correct. Unions oftentimes will endorse things that not all of their members agree with.
Right.
But in this case, you were not, to be specific, you were not endorsed by the Utica Teachers Association. You were endorsed by the umbrella organization NICET, and it included a quote from the union president.
Included
Again,
it also
I just
included
think it's
delegates. It also included
Okay.
delegates
Who were
from
there?
the UTA at that meeting where they
Okay.
voted to endorse.
But at the end of the day, I don't think endorsements do all that much for people running. But this type of conversation is more conversation that takes you away from the issues that really mean something to the people of Utica.
So I spoke to Steve Ruffero last week, and he brought up this issue. And I'll completely be honest here. I said, look, Steve, I don't know exactly how to describe it, but we talked to Celeste about this on the air before. And he's like, she keeps saying, I'm paraphrasing, she keeps saying she was endorsed by Utica teachers. The teachers endorsed her, the teachers endorsed her, and local teachers endorsed her. And I said, well, we talked about this on the air specifically, and I said, I can't explain it off the top of my head, but it was something along the lines of, the large organization endorsed, and then the Scott, I kept calling him the Scott guy, there was a quote or something like that, because I don't know if you were here. You might have been away
I
for
wasn't
this.
here, no.
We had talked about this on the air. So, again, yeah, I don't know. I just wanted to note that I guess that's where that came from. And I to be honest with you, I said to him on the air, I said, I would really be shocked. And you even said this during the interview. I mean, how foolish would it be to go out and brag that you've got this, and then it comes out that you don't have it?
Right.
And I
and I was accused of that earlier too.
So
I was
you're
accused
being-
of making up another endorsement.
The comptroller.
Exactly.
So the question, I believe going forward, what they're asking for you to say is that you were endorsed by the teachers union NICET, And that included a positive quote from the Utica Teachers Association.
Which, except for maybe one instance here, is the only thing I've ever said. So if you read through my endorsement press release, it doesn't say that I was endorsed by the UTA, et cetera. This is a mountain being made out of a molehill. And again...
Well, it's a big story if you didn't have the endorsement. But you
then
do.
it would be a very big story.
Which goes back to my initial point.
Yeah.
This ain't a great conversation for Galimi. I don't think this is necessarily. This would have been better off just kind of going over. The comment was made. You move over. You move on. And I understand Mr. Farrell trying to make the distinction, but it only makes us focus on it even more.
But can I say something more about that? So there is this real trend and pattern that we've seen from the very beginning of me, everything I say gets nitpicked. This is a perfect example of this. Talking about things that the voters don't want to talk about, distracting us from the issues like paving and public safety and after-school activities for kids. And the nitpicking is coming from not the average voter, right, but it's coming from the political class. I think it's almost as though the political class in the city of Utica might think that they have a lot to lose if I get elected. That's how they're behaving.
Joe Joseph, I was a state employee since the 80s, and you were always able to opt out of the union since then. But I got to say that I think it changed recently for teachers. That's all I know.
I think you might be referring, Bill, to a Supreme Court decision.
It was a federal decision that allowed people to, but I don't think you could. I don't remember you being able to opt out of the union when because after that decision, a friend of mine immediately opted out of the teachers union. That's the only thing I remember. So I don't know the reason for all of that, but anyway, nonetheless. Are we good on this issue?
Well, I just want to read one line from the email about the endorsement, I guess, so that we can kind of put this to close. Please feel free to tout your NYSUT endorsement in any campaign materials as you see fit and inform us of any opportunity to support your efforts. So it's clear that the endorsement came from NYSUT. There is a quote from a NYSUT member, Scott Rogowski, who's the president of the UTA. The endorsement did not come from UTA. But I guess maybe we're into the weeds on this here a little bit.
Julie says you still can't say UTA endorsed her because they didn't, and I agree with that.
Right.
Yep.
So do I.
The president is not the organization, I understand.
Yep.
Except for one instance here, she shouldn't have said it all if it wasn't true. Basically saying you shouldn't have said it that way on this program. And then she said, I could never get out of the union. It was a closed shop. And I believe Julie's a former teacher. I believe that is the case. All I know is my friend Tony was out the minute the Supreme Court decision came down. Okay. Are we okay? Can we move on from
Jeff
this?
Is looking through the audio clip. He wants to know exactly what I said on the radio.
No. To be honest with you, I don't remember exactly the way you worded it, but as I tried to regurgitate what you said, it was essentially that. You may have used a wrong term, but when I said, well, can you clarify this? To my recollection, and what stuck with me was that you clarified it well. I couldn't, again, reiterate what you said, but you said the larger organization made the endorsement. It didn't come from local, and then there was a local rep who was included in the quote. I didn't think there was anything wrong with it.
All right, I want to ask.
All true. All true.
If I could, yesterday I received an email in regards to this issue, which you brought up on the air, of Mike Galimi being against the hospital, that he was against the hospital in the very beginning. He has claimed he was never against the hospital. He was simply asking questions. Then yesterday I received an email that apparently there was an interview given, if you remember the high school kid, Luke Radel was doing political stuff. And he was doing it during the initial...
I do remember him. I think he's a journalism student at Syracuse University now.
He is. And I'm not sure that it's journalism. He may be a Newhouse student. Either way, he, during the interview, apparently in the interview, and I've not listened to the interview as of yet, what does that interview say? Is that where Galimi has been against the hospital that you're challenging? Because he says he was not.
I haven't seen that. I don't know about the Luke Radel interview.
Okay.
But I was surprised by how much sort of controversy this generated. I think everybody sort of understands that Mike was against the hospital. I think of that as a pretty widespread...
Really?
Yeah.
Well,
wow.
I do have...
I don't remember. I remember him with questions.
And we'll get into this next hour. I do have Katie Aiello, who is willing to come on and talk about it, about the interview that he gave. and she would do that next hour if you reach out to her.
Oh, sure.
That's where I received the interview from. So, but I think really, to be honest with you, all of these little issues are, do they really make a big difference at the end of the day when
I
people
think what the
vote?
voters want us to talk about is how do we keep the enormous success of the investments coming downtown? How do we make sure that those benefit people in neighborhoods? I think the voters want us to talk about paving. I think the voters want us to talk about public safety. Lots and lots of voters want us to talk about safe activities for kids after school. I hear over and over again about what a loss it's been to the city to lose the Boys and Girls Club.
Oh, my gosh.
So I think we need a Boys and Girls Club or
Also,
something that is like that.
I also do wonder, while we're talking about all these little things, something I haven't heard much talked about, and probably Bob Cardillo has talked more about this than anyone else, and that is West Utica. West
right.
Utica is the place that time forgot.
West Utica is more neglected than any other place in the city.
And it does seem
Absolutely.
that a certain population moved into East Utica and has done a really good job of pushing a lot of the bad element out. But unfortunately, it seems like that bad element, the crime, has just been moved, not eliminated, but simply moved into West Utica.
Well, that's what happens, though, right?
When you drive around West Utica, it looks, but it's neglected by the government, right?
It looks like
So,
a war zone.
Waverly Place, I went over there recently to follow up with a voter because she had concerns about paving. It's not paving. That road needs to be rebuilt. All the asphalt is heaved up and sunken down, and so there are clearly infrastructure issues going on below the street. Go over to Hurt Park, and I know that Mr. Cardillo has talked about Hurt Park a lot. There's a house on the corner that burned out and is sitting there as this hunkin' burned out shell of a building. Not good for the neighborhood, not safe. And Hurt Park's a funny little park. It's one of these parks that you drive by it, you can't see all the way into it. You can't, it has two entrances. It's a funny little park, but that doesn't feel safe to a lot of the people who live there. So it could be a nice little park, but it's not a nice little park because it doesn't feel safe to
Behind
enter
the
and exit.
Boilermaker? Is that the
yes,
one over there? Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you wouldn't even know if you didn't know it was there.
Right,
a lot of people wouldn't even know it was there.
But our neighbor, our families, our working families in the city need little parks that they can walk to with their children, safe, happy, pretty little places to spend even an hour on a swing set and a picnic table.
All right.
We need to create those places all across the city. But West Utica, absolutely. West Utica has been neglected.
But I have someone else here saying that even in your own district, when it comes to paving and other issues, that South Utica has been neglected.
Yeah, I don't think this year we didn't get as much as we did the previous 2 years. But in the past, the mayor has paved a lot of streets in South Utica. This past year, for whatever reason, he didn't pave as heavily in South Utica. But actually, a lot of paving has been done in South Utica over the last few years.
All right.
And there's always more to do. And every winter, the winter comes and goes. And when the snow is gone, you go, ooh, that street's a little worse or a lot worse
that
than it was.
springtime
So
looks-
you can
looks
do a
worse,
lot of paving, and there's always a lot of paving to be done.
Okay. All right. We good? Anything else?
Yeah, no, I'll just say, I grew up in East Utica, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to, I'll take the I out of it. As someone who grew up in East Utica, it's the same thing, I guess. There was a couple rental properties on either side of the house that we grew up on. And it's this case, it's like this now. Someone moves in, it might be a mother, it might be a couple, and they have a couple kids, and they're great, and they're there for a couple of years, and they're very nice, and right? And then they move out, and then like a drug dealer moves in, okay? And then whatever happens, and then another nice family moves in, or a different drug dealer moves in, right? It's a very mixed bag as what you get as a neighbor, and I just feel like the neighborhood situation, addressing the issues in West Utica, moving them to South Utica or East Utica or to Yorkville doesn't address the problem. It just cleans up this neighborhood for 20 minutes,
right?
Until the next.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to note that because
I
people
think
said
that that's a really fair point, Jeff. And I think what we need then is we need comprehensive citywide. We don't need people deciding, okay, West Utica needs to look great, and we're not going to pay any attention again to South Utica or East Utica. We need a single comprehensive approach to these issues. This is about codes. This is about holding bad landlords accountable. We have a law on the books called the nuisance abatement, where if there are enough problems with a rental unit, then the lawyers can go in and abate it by, and that's something that falls to the landlord. We need to make it clear to landlords that if you are a burden on our neighborhoods, we're going to come after you. And, you know, I'd love to make the city of Utica into a place where bad landlords say to each other, yeah, Utica's not worth it. We can't do good business there. Because if you're a bad landlord, we don't want you. There are lots of good landlords. We need to figure out how to better support them, and we need to crack down on the bad landlords. Absolutely.
Donna says, I don't think any area is more neglected than the other. I think in areas people destroy things, in other areas they appreciate things. And I think that's an interesting point when you're talking about the Bosnian population. When they moved into Cornhill and East Utica, they care deeply about their properties, and they fix them up. And somehow we've got to figure out how we get that into West Utica.
And we have to figure out how we get positive feedback loops going. Mm-hmm. So what are the things that the city can do that encourages property owners to take better care? And then as some property owners take better care, other property owners take better care. So there are positive feedback loops there. And some of those are ones that the city can participate in, that the city can add some momentum to.
All right. Okay, Celeste, friend, thank you. We appreciate it. I'm sure we'll speak again. Thank you. Election day early voting begins this Saturday. Hard to believe we're finally getting to the general election.
Can I quickly say something about early voting?
Mm-hmm.
So during early voting, which is October 28th through November 5th, any resident anywhere in the county of Oneida, in Oneida County, can go to MVCC. If you go to my website, I'm pretty sure we have the hours up there. You don't have to remember which is your voting place during early voting. Anybody goes to any early voting site, gives your name, you get a ballot for your district.
Davey, you want to add?
And I believe there's a debate tonight.
There is a forum in North Utica tonight. Thank you, Davey.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. I do believe Stefan will be there. All right. All right, I got a break. We have Hobica. We have Hobica's free money question of the day this morning, Davey. I'll tell you in a second what the jackpot is. What are we looking for? Caller number what?
Caller number 7.
Seventh caller through the lines. Your chance to win cash from the Hobica Law Firm. Joseph and Andrew Hobica. Seventh caller right now at WIBX.
The Community Foundation of Herkimer and Oneida Counties is your community foundation. Together, we've invested $125 million in the community, thanks to people, families, and businesses that want to give back and build a brighter future. And you don't have to have big bucks to make a big difference. Join us as we invest in the future of our community. Learn more about your community foundation at foundationhoc.org.
John and Marie heard about Mattress Express's newest promotion where you simply stop in, perform a simple comfort test, and get a prepaid $25 Visa card. They went to Mattress Express's location in New Hartford on Commercial Drive next to Pet Supplies Plus. They tried Tempur-Pedic. They tried Stearns & Foster. They tried the 9 different purple mattresses. They loved them all. They settled on the Q9 King number bed by Instant Comfort in a flex head. John liked his side firm. We set it to 40, elevated his head and feet, said he'd never been more comfortable. Marie liked her side softer. She was an 18. What a difference. Elevated her head a little higher, her feet a little less. They said it was like they were each in their own custom bed. They qualified and signed up for the 5 years, no interest, no money down, did not give us a nickel up front. They, for their luxury rewards, selected a 75-inch flat screen TV. Hurry, this is a limited time offer. Come to any Mattress Express, perform a simple comfort test, and get a $25 prepaid Visa card.
This holiday season, bring extra comfort and timeless style into your home with Adirondack Home Furniture's Flex Steel Gallery Sale going on now. Experience the magic of the holidays surrounded by the finest craftsmanship and exquisite design. From over 40 breathtaking dining sets to handcrafted sofas, their furniture sets the stage for unforgettable holiday celebrations with your loved ones. Stop in today to Adirondack Home Furniture and enjoy a relaxing, low-pressure shopping experience. They pride themselves on their unmatched customer service and attention to detail. Adirondack Home Furniture has a large line of quality USA-made furniture from top manufacturers. Create your dream home for the holidays and beyond with Adirondack Home Furniture. Living rooms, dining rooms, bedrooms, and home office, you'll find everything on your holiday list at Adirondack Home Furniture. Visit them at the former Riverside Mall, Horatio Street, Utica, or browse their inventory online at AdirondackHomeFurniture.com. Adirondack Home Furniture, helping you get your home ready for the holidays.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ziprecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to this exclusive web address, ziprecruiter.com/free. That's ziprecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
It's hosting season, and Ashley has everything you need at Central New York's newest furniture and mattress store, Ashley, on the River Road in the Marcy Town Plaza in Marcy. Get your home hosting ready for company with guest-approved essentials like a 92-inch Ashley sofa for just $10 a month or $4.99, or a 72-inch 6-drawer table and 4 chairs just $15 a month or $7.99, or a 5-piece antique white queen bedroom for just $19 a month or $9.99. And Ashley Hybrid Queen mattresses are just $6 a month or only $2.99. Plus, we offer special no-interest financing options for every budget with up to 5 years interest-free. And right now, you can save on accessories store-wide to finish every look, from minor refreshes to total overhauls. Ashley has the items needed to make your home functional, fabulous, and friends and family ready. Experience the joy of home suite hosting with help from Ashley. In-store only at the Marcy Town Plaza on River Road in Marcy. Stop in today.
WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM. This is Keeler.
All right, Hobeika, the Hobeika Law Firm, Joseph and Andrew Hobeika, each day do the free money question of the day. It's a chance for you to win $100, $200, $300, $400, or $500. Who knows, Davey? Even more. I don't know. You never know what Siri comes up with, right? This morning, what does Siri say in terms of this morning's jackpot? This morning's jackpot, according to Siri, is
$100.
$100. Okay.
Oh.
And our contestant is, we seem so disappointed. It's only $100. We've had some really big winners over the course of the last few weeks and few months. What are you saying?
Oh, I'm not saying nothing.
Oh,
I agree with you.
I thought you were giving me a gesture in there.
No.
Okay, Anthony in Rome is ready to take a shot at Hobeika's free money
Did we
question.
do that? I missed the solicit. We did it?
We did it. Hello, Anthony. Good morning.
Good morning.
You ready to go?
Oh, of course.
You know the deal. You'll have 7 seconds to answer the question. Anthony is located in Rome. 7 seconds to answer the question. If you get it right, you can only go with one answer. Keep that in mind. If you get it right, you win the cash. And this morning, it's $100. Here is your question. Back in 1985, this was a big story. Courtney Cox was the first ever person to use this word on television. What was it? Ready, go.
Shit.
Well, that one, okay, is that your final answer?
You asked for it, Bill.
I apologize to those on YouTube. The delay doesn't cover YouTube, but for the radio it does, per FCC regulations. The S word is not the answer. The word is period. Period. I love a good punctuation contest.
Yes.
So it was a Tampax commercial, and when it happened, it caused a whole thing. Hard to believe that in 1985, that's the first time that word had ever been used medically on television.
Yeah.
But it's the case. All right, hold on a second. Davey's going to hook you up. You get the Utica All-in-One Food and Fun card, $25 gift card to Aquavino, Babes, 72, Taylor and the Cook, and the concession stands at Adirondack Bank Center and Nexus. By the way, give me one word that'll shut a guy up quicker. It's that word. Notice Anthony hasn't said a thing. He's completely quiet. All right, Anthony, sit tight. Davey's going to hook you up, okay? There is something about that.
What's the last name?
That the guys just become quiet.
So if I can use that in a sentence.
Even in a grocery store line.
You know, Well, never mind. I'll move on from it. Do you want the comments, or are we going to Howard?
All right, let's do some comments, and then Howard Potter coming up with a few issues that he's dealing with here today.
All right, so Tom in Rome says, Bill, you really are Larry David.
Oh, my God. What he's referencing is we went to New York City, took a train. We were there this weekend, saw Billy Joel on Friday night, bought these tickets in the spring. The show finally came. It was a great show. Had people with us. We were all excited about it, saying you're going to love the train ride. It's easy. What happens? There's a mudslide in Westchester County. We could not get a train out Saturday or Sunday. You couldn't find a rental car. You couldn't find a bus, anything out of the city. And in fact, I knew of someone last night who was still trying to find a rental car to get out, was supposed to have left on Saturday, and was still stuck in the city as of Sunday evening. No train, no bus, no rental cars, nothing. The best chance you would have had was to fly out. That was not an opportunity for us. So we ended up getting a car service.
They took a pedicab from New York City to Albany.
A car service that got us home. We were going to do it Daniel Boone style and get a horse, but we decided not to go that road.
Royalty.
We finally made it home.
Royalty. Getting
Last
a
night.
special treatment on the thruway. A couple of other comments here, and I'll move quickly. FX in New Hartford says, if Utica had its own Hillary Clinton, it's Celeste Friend. She makes Ed Hanna look mentally fit. That's a little harsh.
All right.
That's a lot of harsh. Lance and Lee, Jeff, please ask Celeste if her opponent is Galimi or Testa. I think it's cowardly of Galimi not to try and do his own dirty work. Typical dirty Utica politics.
This was actually Steve Ruffero who brought this up.
Steve Ruffero brought this up, right? Not Sam, but
deputy commissioner, the deputy chair of the Republican Party.
I think the situation. I don't look at Mike Galimi sending Samantha Colosimo Testa out there as some kind of attack dog. I think Sam is backing Mike, and he's more than happy to take the support. But what is he? I just, right? I mean,
nobody puts Samantha in the corner.
Yeah, and try to. I dare you, and I'd love to be there when you tried to do that. But, do you feel that way? Like Mike is using Sam to go after... I think Sam's just kind of criticizing as she sees. Now, whether you agree or not is one thing, but where she sees fit, it's not like they're coordinating. Mike, what do you want me to do to attack Celeste next? I'm ready for my orders.
I agree, but I think oftentimes you'll see a candidate will want to take the high road, and if there's somebody that if something that needs to be done that's a little unsightly, it'd be nice for someone else to do that, not the candidate. So it's kind of one of those things where you just let it happen, right?
John in Deerfield says, don't join a union argument is garbage. Teachers working in Utica, he says, in the Utica City School District are required to be members of the union. Similar to the union I represent at my company, any employee working in a specific set of roles are members of the union per the contract between the company and the union.
That's not true anymore. You can opt out of a union today. It's a Supreme Court decision.
That's why I wanted to mention this because I thought it was different.
It happened under Trump.
And finally, Big Honey says, hey, Jeff, are there any other sensitive secrets or information that you want to share about Davey with your audience? Now, I'm going to apologize again.
Davey, are you upset with Jeff here this morning?
A little bit.
Okay. I missed it. I was out of the room.
Okay, can you explain why you're upset with me?
Because you were saying about people were given tickets in the white car, and you said that about me.
Okay, but
all right. So I'll translate on that. So Jeff said we all know white cars get the most tickets because Davey drives a white car and he gets a ton of speed. Is that what was said?
I said to Davey, "Do you know what color car gets the most tickets in New York?" And he said white. And I said, "Ha, do you know that because you get pulled over all the time?" Which I don't even think is true. I was a joke. See, he's not even acknowledging. He's ticked.
No, he's fine. He didn't mean anything by it. He shouldn't have said it. Apologize to Davey. Go ahead.
Smitty, for the fourth time now, I'm very sorry. Gotcha. I said it only as a joke, and if it makes you feel any better, you can do the noon news today for me because I've got something else I've got to do.
Okay. All right.
No. I don't want you to get mad at me.
All right. Well, you were mad at him.
Well, I turned the tables pretty quick there.
All right. So here we are.
So
we're all
hug.
good, right?
Group hug.
All right. It's almost like a imaginary shake of the hand that just occurred here, right on the radio. Fist bump. Okay. Any other comments? That's it. In studio right now is Howard Potter, and Howard, has run in the past for Utica School Board. He is a local businessman who has become a bit of a community advocate, I guess, if you will. You deal with a lot of different issues. One of them involves codes. You said there was an issue with codes that you recently dealt with.
Yeah, from a home standpoint, because I was listening to your guys' topic on codes. So on a personal aspect, there's a lot of things that homeowners or people that own homes that are renting don't know that they need to know about for codes.
Okay.
So a lot of times we think people are maybe absentee or just trying to avoid following codes. So I personally ran into the issue not only at home but also at work with our property. At home, we were...
You have a property that's down by the auditorium.
Yes.
Okay.
And then we live over in East Utica, and we were ripping out an existing deck, and making it larger. So I didn't think we needed to apply for anything with codes. And I found out otherwise, that we needed to. So I went down, handled all that, and then...
I think that has to do community to community. Each municipality has their own rules for that. So maybe once you ripped it out, you needed to have a permit.
Yes.
Okay.
And so, long story short, through...
And that probably has something to do with... If you don't mind.
No,
there was an accident that occurred, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, maybe less than that, where a whole bunch of, and it may have been a college town, where they were all partying on a deck, and the deck collapsed and people died.
Yeah.
So I think where that might have come from could be there. I don't know for a fact. But,
yeah. So
okay.
Once I went through both issues, with resident and commercial, I had made it. I'd sent an email to all the Common Council members. I don't know who's in charge of actually, presenting these things and getting it done. And also emailed the mayor's office. I said, listen, a few months ago, MV had everybody from the labor board that heads up the labor board for New York State there to talk about taxation, finance, and educate us on what each role is for each department. I said that would be nice to have something where we have something at City Hall or in the neighborhood associations where codes is out there and educating the public, or allowing people to ask questions about residents and commercial
so like
codes.
A codes question and answer.
Yes. So
okay.
it'll also make it easier because the codes, is not an easy job, and they don't have probably the manpower they need to really enforce codes 24/7. So that being said, if we bring everybody together and educate them, it'll also make the codes officer's job easier, and we probably would have less codes violations.
Okay. I do say that it is up to the property owner, though, to make the phone call to codes and say, do I need a permit for this, or am I okay to... I just recently ran into that.
Well, there's some codes you wouldn't even think...
You wouldn't think.
I put up a no trespassing sign, good size, 4 foot by 8 foot, 2 of them. I didn't think I needed to apply for a sign permit, but you need to.
No trespassing, large no trespassing sign.
Because it's a 2-acre property.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, and what is it? Because it's going to be a permanent sign you have to apply?
No, it's just a sign, period. So
but people put up, political signs that are
apparently not.
3 by 6
apparently,
foot?
in my neighborhood, you can put up a posted sign at will.
Yeah,
that's pretty sure. It's like, I'm going to put up another posted sign today. Apparently, it's legal where I live.
Yeah.
Okay, so...
But hang on, but the political signs, some of these signs are... You telling me you need a permit for a political sign? If someone puts it in the
those were an issue in the past because they would have to ask people to move.
There are specific rules regarding
infringing
political
on freedom of speech and stuff like that, which I thought mine was similar to that. Because
but there are in some cases
trespass.
there are size rules where you can only have, and again that's municipality to municipality.
Yeah. But I think if we have that open,
what is your posted sign over? What is it over?
Ours. So the no trespass.
So what is the reason?
Oh, the reason is because it doesn't matter what kind of sign it is. If it's within 60 square feet
I understand.
or less.
So they're saying you couldn't have such a...
Yes. Oh, yeah. But between the Nexus Center and the Odd, we have a lot of people come in and just parking on our property, which, if we couldn't be sued if someone slipped and fell or whatever, we would have no issue with it. But that being said, by New York State law, we're liable, so... We're trying to make sure people aren't trespassing after hours.
All right, fair enough. Okay, anything further on this one? Because it's I got about 5 minutes here, and So, what is the issue today? What are we talking about today? It's hiring and busing issues. Are you running for school board?
It's still up in the air right now.
Okay.
Just because of how busy we are.
It does sound like you're considering it though, because you're still very involved in a lot of the school issues. and it would make one think that maybe you are running.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, like I promised, everybody in the district that's reached out to me, no matter if I run or not, I'm always going to stay heavily involved. For the simple fact is, there's a lot of people that still don't feel comfortable public speaking, or they need help and they're not sure how to go about it. So I've been navigating a lot of that because they really just don't know who to talk to. The district's been doing a lot better with publications and things like that and moving the ball forward in that regard. But we still are having a lot of issues that I don't think it's bad to talk about issues, because just like in business, you look at your reports and you're like, hey, guys, we need to work better on this error rate or this. And it's one of those things when you're dealing with children and faculty members and our 13-year history of who was leading the district, I think we need to have more open discussions during the board meetings about, hey, this is where busing is. We need to move the ball forward. This is how many safety issues we've had. This is how many fights we've had. Are we improving those things and show those stats?
But isn't that what board meetings are for, school board meetings?
I thought so.
Right, okay.
So,
and are you able to speak at school board meetings?
You can public speak before the meetings start and do public speaking, but they will not record and broadcast. And I've debated that point for several years now.
But you're still able to communicate with the board members, though.
Yes.
But your issue is that they don't promote it to the rest of the district. The questions that they're not putting it on.
Well, that's the thing. So if I'm a parent,
feed.
So if I'm a parent and I have a safety concern, or it's a legit, a question about special education or whatever, the other parents can't hear it unless they're physically in the room.
Okay.
Okay, so you have some concerns about teacher hiring, and then it sounds like there's a shortage of bus drivers again as well.
Yes.
So to be honest with you, I can understand we're into the school year now already, and it's those people who usually fill those positions, if they're looking for a job, probably already have one. But do you have any idea as to how far down, how many teachers they need at this point, and how many bus drivers they might need at this point?
No, because they haven't really released any of the data. Because if you go on the school district website, they show a monster list of job openings. Mm-hmm. But then when you go onto the professional sites for teaching, there's about 6 to 8 jobs. Like there's a music teacher. We still need a music teacher, and school's already started. And I think there's science and other things. But then when you go to the school district site, I mean, there's got to be over 40, 50 jobs, minimum, over 40, 50 jobs. And before school started, when they had school board meetings, they're like, hey, I think it was like 80 or 90, job openings, da-da-da. We have yet to see where we're at with that point. And so when you have a human resource page showing one thing, but then you go out into the public, it shows another, and you're asking legitimate questions, and no one's giving replies to actually what's out there and what's needed.
So are you saying that they've not hired the teachers that are needed?
I'm saying from what if you were to go by what it shows on the district's website, no.
Okay. And you do know that we're in the middle of a major hiring problem.
Yep.
And every school district is having the same problem.
But the other thing that we have to look at and own as a school district is how much less likely is someone going to jump to run to our school district when last year we had a stabbing, this year we had a shooting. We've had, several lockouts already, and the school year's already started.
So
By the way, Utica has more teachers and more staff.
Yes.
By far than any other school district in the region. So they must be finding some way to get people to go. But there are those people who will not want to teach in a big city school district. Yeah. It's just...
They do have more staff, and consider they have more students. But if we agreed with the point that you just made there, it's not like someone on the board is not doing something right. It means that it's a more difficult task to get them to come to Utica. It seemed like this was being presented as maybe somebody dropped the ball or somebody didn't do something right here, when the actuality is there's other realities that...
without it. No, it's not just, blame the board or anything like that by any means. It's more or less just be transparent at every meeting and say, hey, these are the job openings we still have open, because I take that
but
page.
But isn't the posting of the page the transparency in itself?
Well, yes and no, because they post those jobs, but then they say, we don't need some of those jobs. Well,
maybe some of those jobs have been filled, I guess.
But that's why we invested. Yeah. If you look back at a couple meetings, how many people got $20,000 and $30,000 pay increases, and we hired all these new HR people and consultants. That stuff should be getting cleaned up and consistently up to date.
I would only say this, and we'll break in, and we'll talk on the other side, but this is like a bit of to me, it's kind of a real non-issue. Like, what does a member of the public even care about this for?
Well, the reason being is because there's still faculty reaching out to me and letting me know that we still have a reading teacher that is, teaching a class. We have subs teaching classes longer than they should be, and they don't have the credentials to do so.
Well, those
we don't know the
those
ratings.
teachers should look around at other school districts because it's happening everywhere. And then beyond school districts should look here at Town Square Media. And then beyond should look at every other employer in the area. Look at the hospital. Look everywhere. We're struggling. Stand by. We'll talk more about this. But, this hiring shortage is this employee shortage is a major problem for everybody. But we'll talk more about it. Stand by. WIBX Utica Rome. It's 8 o'clock.
To announce their intention to run, and 9 did.
Jack Bergman of Michigan, Byron Donalds of Florida, Tom Emmer of Minnesota, Kevin Hearn of Oklahoma, Mike Johnson of Louisiana, Dan Muser of Pennsylvania, Gary Palmer of Alabama, Austin Scott of Georgia, and Pete Sessions of Texas. The plan is to have them state their cases at a closed-door forum tonight, ahead of a secret caucus ballot Tuesday. Republicans hope the one who emerges will do what Jim Jordan could not, unite the party and reopen the House for business. Gernal Scott, Fox News.
The Israeli military increases the number of known hostages held by Hamas militants in Gaza to 222.
The Israelis continue limited raids into Gaza to try and look for information about the hostages that are being held there, and also to ensure that they are clearing the path for that expected ground operation.
Fox's Trey Yanks, the health ministry in Gaza, reports 436 Palestinians, including 182 children, killed in Israeli military strikes in the last 24 hours. The funeral is held in Oak Park, Michigan, for Samantha Wohl, a 40-year-old president of a synagogue in Detroit, stabbed to death Saturday morning. Her sister, Monica.
She was a model citizen, a model Jewish citizen, who forged a path for herself and countless others to feel more connected with local community, Israel, and the whole of humanity.
Police have not identified a suspect and say they have no evidence of any motive, including anti-Semitism. Former President Trump on social media says a New York Times story about Trump sharing classified information with an Australian billionaire, Anthony Pratt, is fake news, and calls Pratt a red-haired weirdo. America's listening to Fox News.
All right, Christmas will be here before we know it. If you're looking for a really special gift, I encourage you to check out the firearms made right here in America by our great friends at Henry Repeating Arms. Now, you start by going to their website, henryusa.com, order their free holiday gift guide, and they'll mail it with free decals that you can use for stocking stuffers. Perfect timing. Folks, when you give someone a Henry, you're giving them a work of art that is built with the finest craftsmanship I've ever seen as a collector. Now, their performance is top-notch. Mine were accurate, all of them, right out of the box. They shoot smooth and straight, and they have been reliable ever since. They have over 200 models of rifles and shotguns and revolvers to choose from. One of the things I like the most about these firearms, they're family heirlooms. They'll always be backed by the company's lifetime warranty. So if you want to put something that's made in America under the tree this Christmas, henryusa.com. Get their free gift guide and their decals today. That's henryusa.com. You will love this company.
Mostly cloudy skies, 41 degrees. WIBX News Time is 8:03. This news update is brought to you by Tallman's Tire and Auto Repair. Buy any 4 installed Nokian snow or all-weather tires and get a $100 instant rebate. Well, authorities are warning about deer and, in some cases, moose that are out on the road. The New York State DMV and the DEC reminding people to keep a close eye out, especially at dawn and dusk. Data from the U at Albany's Institute for Traffic Safety Management and Research shows that 41% of crashes involving animals happen between October and December. Animals are typically active at dawn and dusk. As I mentioned, safety tips online at dmv.ny.gov. Speaking of being out on the roads, and this is the story that got me into trouble with Smitty last hour, what color vehicle do you think is most ticketed for speeding?
Can I guess?
Speeding in New York State, yes.
White. That shocks me, though.
It's the I'll say the old wives' tale. Everyone always says it's red, right?
Right.
You think red. But according to American Auto Insurance, the vehicle color that gets pulled over more than any color is actually white. However, second place was red, and they say keep this in mind as well. Gray and silver round out the top of the list, taking third and fourth. The false notion about police officers pulling over red cars most often comes from the idea that red is more eye-catching and easier to spot by police. They also say, keep in mind, we're talking about the total number of tickets per vehicle. So if there's more white cars on the road than any other
that's
car,
what I was just going to say. I think there are probably more white cars, and maybe that's part of the reason.
I believe that it is.
And definitely fewer red cars.
For 10 consecutive years, in fact, white has been the most popular car on the road.
But I would say if you have a red car, be careful.
Yeah, it is eye-catching.
I think there's something about, especially if it's a red sports car,
Absolutely.
Just beware.
Elsewhere, let's see here. Several state airports are getting a chunk of $49 million in funding from the state. Among them, Syracuse's regional airport, Cortland County Airport. They're set to receive $2.5 million. Others getting money. Oswego County Airport, and I have more on the list as well. Saratoga County and Columbia County, along with Albany International. WIBX News Time coming up on 8:06. Your Weather Center forecast comes to you from Eyewitness News. Not bad midweek, to be honest with you.
Not bad. We're going to be in the low to mid 70s by midweek.
Well, I've learned, though. That's what they say now.
You're right.
By the time Wednesday
Tomorrow,
comes, the high will be 66, not 74.
Or by tomorrow, we could be looking at a snowstorm.
Cloudy skies today, becoming gradually sunny with a high of 51. Tonight, some patchy frost after midnight. Otherwise, partly cloudy. We'll have a low of 35 degrees. We're getting close to that freezing mark.
Yeah.
Tuesday, some frost possible early. Otherwise, mostly sunny for your Tuesday with a high of 65. Wednesday, partly sunny, a high of 75. Thursday, mostly cloudy, 73. Friday, some sunshine, a high of 76.
Joe Load says he's going in his pool this week.
Okay.
That's what he's saying. It'll take a lot to heat that puppy up, though.
Right now, we have cloudy skies and just 42 degrees. WIBX News Time is 8:06. All right, I'll move quick in sports. The Bills, a disappointing performance in New England. They nearly completed the comeback, but then Mac Jones and Bill Belichick had the final word as they marched down the field with 2 minutes to go and scored the go-ahead touchdown. The Bills dropped to 4-3 as they lose in New England, a final of 29-25. Boy, look at those Giants, huh? Yeah, they beat the Washington Commanders, a final of 14-7, just the second win of the season for the Giants. The Jets were on a bye. It'll be a battle of New York as the Jets and Giants square off in Week 8. Other highlights from Week 7 around the NFL, Jalen Hurts and the Eagles over the Dolphins, 31-17 last night on Sunday Night Football. Monday Night Football wraps up Week 7 tonight, a game you can hear right here on WIBX. The Vikings host the San Francisco 49ers. Our coverage of the game begins at 7:30. Baseball playoffs. It will go to a deciding Game 7 in the ALCS. The Rangers won Game 6 last night. Houston will host the deciding Game 7 tonight. The winner goes to the World Series. In the National League, the Philadelphia Phillies lead the Arizona Diamondbacks 3-2. Philly will host Game 6 today, and a victory sends them back to the World Series as well.
Okay, let me go through, if I may, here this morning, a couple of things. Jimmy Fallon coming to the Stanley Theater. Tickets are still available, and you can. This is the crunch time now, as we're getting close to showtime. The November 11th show, that just so happens to be Veterans Day. Tickets are available right now by going to Ticketmaster. Call them or go online, Ticketmaster.com. Jimmy Fallon and Kennedy. The Laps and Liberty Tour. Kennedy from Fox Business and, of course, formerly from MTV. Sponsored by Keeler in the Morning on WIBX, 950 and 106.9 FM. Hero Tickets, sponsored by River Hills Properties. You can purchase a pair of tickets for yourself and then a pair of tickets for veterans and donate them back. The Stanley is working with Vince Scalise, as a matter of fact, and his group, and they're making sure that veterans get these tickets and get to go on Veterans Day on us. Pretty cool. Heroes Tickets, sponsored by River Hills Properties. Can I also tell you about, I got a bunch to get to, and Howard, we're coming right up with you. There are a lot of people out there right now in need of a bathroom makeover. New York Sash is helping them accomplish this for less. Right now, the bathroom makeover sale, where you can get 20% off your bathroom remodeling project. But it ends November 1st, so don't wait. That's just around the corner. The New York Sash installers can give your bathroom a whole new look in just a couple of days. No mess, no maintenance, and no worries with the New York Sash lifetime warranty. What are you waiting for? New York Sash acrylic bath systems will never mold or mildew because it's non-porous, easy to clean and maintain, won't chip or peel, and is scratch resistant. Right now, 20% off your bathroom project with the bathroom makeover sale through November 1st. Stop by and don't wait. It's only good in October at the showroom in Whitesboro. Visit NewYorkSash.com. Quick break, and then we'll come back.
Sure.
Quick break. We'll be back with Howard Potter, who is on a mission here this morning, and he has some. You have some info. You're telling us.
Yes, sir.
Okay. There's some info. We'll get to it coming up next at WIBX.
Ready for a smoother and safer ride? Head to Tallman's Tire and Auto Repair, your trusted tire experts. At Tallman's Tire and Auto Repair, you'll get expert advice from their staff, and it doesn't end there. Now, through October 31st, buy 4 eligible Bridgestone tires and get up to $100 back on a Bridgestone Visa prepaid card. For details, visit TallmansTire.com. Bridgestone, solutions for your journey. Get the tires you and your vehicle deserve at the best prices guaranteed. From Tallman's Tire and Auto Repair, with locations in Utica, Yorkville, Rome, and Herkimer. Online at TallmansTire.com.
He called it a historic budget. Historic because Pecini hasn't raised the Oneida County tax rate in 11 years. Michael Hennessy would like to remind you that in his 17 years in office, Pecini never lowered the tax rate. And his historic budget doesn't raise the tax rates because he can't. Oneida County is operating at the maximum allowable sales tax rate by New York state law. Now you can make a historic difference. Vote Michael Hennessy, the true independent candidate that can stop the historic spending. The historic spending that goes up year after year after year. It's what generational politicians always seem to do. Spend more of your money. Be a historic hero. Vote Michael Hennessy for county executive.
I'm Michael Hennessy, asking you to make the difference. Vote Michael Hennessy, November 7th. Thank you.
WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM. This is Keeler.
All right, in studio right now is Howard Potter. He is a local businessman who might be running for Utica School Board and has some issues. I know the two of you have been going back and forth with some emails and that sort of thing. Do you have comments?
I do have a comment here from Lance, and maybe it's about running for the board. I guess we'll get to this in a second.
Yeah.
But I'm not disputing any of the issues you're raising. I just don't know what... Well, I think it's a good thing to highlight them. I just don't know what can be done. And I don't want to get too deep into this because I don't want to get sued at this point, maybe later. But there is, at least from one person, an allegation of bullying. And I don't know that the board would address that, right?
So, but
Would
you're
they?
talking about a teacher.
I don't know the procedure.
You're talking about a teacher who was on administrative leave?
Yes.
Forced administrative leave?
Yes.
Here's the only problem I would say is... let's just look at the scenario. You have a teacher who is for some reason being disciplined. We don't know why, right? You don't know why?
I wasn't looking to know why personally. I know if you
know the accusation is of the
no
you don't okay
no.
So my point is though, I equate school districts to a radio station. So when an employee is like been let go for some reason and we don't know why, and then the employee is contacting you and you still work here, right? I mean, you're kind of like, I hate getting in the middle of this whole thing. And the rule that I have after many years of dealing with things like this is there's one side of a story, there's the other side of the story, and then there's the side of the story. So I would only be cautious if I were you because you don't know what really is going on. You don't know the real reason that this person is on administrative leave.
Yeah.
My point.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure it's good for you to be sticking your neck out for somebody and you don't really, really know.
Well, it's not a matter of sticking my neck out.
Well, it is because that's what you're doing today. And I think you're continuously coming out and criticizing the district when you really don't know. All I can tell you is Kathy Davis is the acting superintendent, or is
Yes,
is
she's
she the
acting.
interim? Is it acting now?
Well, interim, yeah.
There are two different classifications. I'm going to tell you something based on any experience that I have doing work around and in education. Certainly, my wife is a teacher, but beyond that, because I do other work. She is highly respected. She is a no monkey business administrator. And I would tell you that she is someone who I would trust. And because we are not privy, especially in an employee situation, these employees, there are many restrictions on school districts, what they can and cannot tell you or the public.
Oh, I'm well aware.
So therefore, they can't defend themselves.
Yeah.
But so you're left to be able to look at someone and their reputation. And I'm telling you, Kathy Davis is someone I would not worry about because she comes highly recommended. Every place she has been, she is always placed, almost seems like she's always placed in a situation where she's got to straighten things out. And maybe that's not true necessarily, but based on her expertise and her experience, I would start by giving her the benefit of the doubt.
And I did. Out
Well,
the
but
gate.
you didn't because you're on the radio.
No, that's
but you're
not,
throwing out accusations.
No, you're not letting me finish.
But I didn't even get a chance to let you finish. I was just talking.
Yeah.
Now go ahead and finish.
So the thing is, I'm not throwing out accusations. What I'm saying is there's a fact that someone is on paid administrative leave. I don't want to know what the reason is. The point is, the person doesn't even know why they're on paid administrative leave.
Stop right there. Stop right there. Now let's become journalists together.
Mm-hmm.
From what the person is telling you, they don't know. Now there's a very big difference between they don't know versus what they're telling you is they don't know. Do you understand what I'm saying? This is a very important thing to learn that we all learned when we went to college.
And
that has nothing to do with, you don't have to go to college to know this.
Yeah.
My point is, someone is telling you this is what they know versus you can't say that's a fact.
Actually, I can because I've actually talked to someone else that can also collaborate and say that physically happened. So,
I'm just telling you, you unless you were there, you can't.
So
say that.
can I just say one thing? Hold on, because
You're getting an employee
If we
issues
asked, it would be an employee issue. But I'm not saying you're right or wrong, or that they know a reason or they don't. If that is the case, you guys have a union. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
The teachers have a union. File a grievance. They
File a
can't
grievance
do
with the
this.
union, not with Howard Potter. That's my
Well,
only thing. Right?
It's not a matter of.
I filed my grievance with the union and Howard Potter.
Now,
and
if you
I
want a
believe
T-shirt that says "I was put on paid
the
administrative
case.
leave and I don't know why," I would call Howard.
I just don't. It doesn't. It's not passing the smell test here, Howard. That's all I'm saying to you.
Neither did stamps, but look where that led. You know what I mean? Like so.
No, the stamps thing totally passed the smell test.
What I'm trying
and we covered that story extensively.
What I want,
and turns out maybe it is true.
Yeah. Yes, but what I wanted to get to was not so much.
But we don't know yet, do we?
But what I want
because they didn't really. I don't think they included that in the indictment. Did they include the stamps?
Yes, they did.
It was.
And they coined Stampgate for you. So that made
what's that?
Your term Stampgate made it in.
It did make it in. I know. And I'm just saying. So
Yeah.
that I felt was like, I think that's happening, which is my smell test. I'm like, yeah, it passes my test. I think it stinks, and I believe it's happening.
But what I really wanted to touch on wasn't so much.
But again, I'm going back to a superintendent who is comes highly recommended, who has a reputation of years of experience that would not. I cannot see her saying, let's get rid of this person for. There's probably more to the story that will never come out because. Let me finish.
Yeah.
That will never come out because that teacher has the right to privacy, and the school can never talk about that. Whatever the reason is.
That wasn't my point at all. My point is when the teacher's in the room with their counsel and their union rep, that is when they're supposed to have those conversations. It is being said that the conversation isn't being had as to why that person's on administrative leave. And that's all the person wants to know is why they're on administrative leave. That's it. That's literally it in a nutshell.
Again,
but that's not really what I wanted to talk
we
about.
We don't know any of what's going on here, and all I can tell you is, I kind of fall back to there's more to the story than we probably know.
Oh, I agree.
I ain't sticking my neck out.
I agree.
That's
but,
how
but,
I
but
would
that's
feel.
not what I really wanted to talk about. What I really
Okay.
wanted to talk about was busing issues, and I'm not saying Kathy, Dr. Davis isn't trying to do her best and do this. But what I'm talking about is there are busing issues. There are safety issues where we have bus stops where kids are, at a bus stop that's not safe, where there's drug addicts and there's needles on the ground. And that was reported by someone that works for the city to me, so then I could pass it up the food chain because they don't want to get caught in the middle of it. So things like that are happening.
So you're
Kids
telling
aren't
me
getting-
that people are going to you and reporting their grievances?
Yes, because
so that you can report
depending-
them to the district.
Depending on what their job.
I
and
would
where
question those people, to be honest with you. I mean, grow a set and go to the board meeting and say, this is what I'm seeing. Not go to. I almost feel like you're being used. That's how I see it.
Well,
People they don't want to throw this in and make these things public. So they go to you because they know you will. I feel like you're being used.
I don't feel like I'm being.
And the worry that I would have is when you cry. You're good with these. I am so bad at cliches.
Yeah.
So when you cry, is it fox? Did I get
Wolf.
confused? It's that Syracuse story with the rabid fox that's got me confused.
Okay.
Cry wolf too often, and it hurts your credibility. I know
I
that's
agree
not
with
the
you.
saying, but
Yeah.
you're good. You're out yelling about every little thing, and oftentimes you're being fed information
Mm-hmm.
from people. I feel like they're taking advantage of you.
Well, it's one of those things, right? Like,
And I've defended you before.
oh
if
yeah,
you remember.
without a doubt, without
Yeah.
a doubt. The big thing is things that I'm seeing with busing happened to one of my employees. Her child didn't have a school bus for 7 days. Her child isn't getting picked up from school until 4 p.m. and not getting home. So my wife and I are having to run out, pick the employee up, pick their child up, get them to school, and then nothing's getting better.
So you're saying the busing issue still exists?
Yeah.
Is it better than it was? Is it
No.
as bad as it was?
It's from the start of the school year. It's not any better than it was before. And there's certain things that aren't being talked about with it. They're creating these videos and this dialogue, which is great. That's a step in the right direction, but it's still not addressing that. Hey, we know that we were going to have 15, 20 bus drivers out that day. We should have sent out a mass text to parents saying, hey, please be patient. I'm saying be transparent with the information in real time as the best they can, versus letting parents find out the hard way when they got to get to work or lose a job.
Okay, all right.
So two things quick. Tennille Knoop just sent me a text. She said busing has been an issue for years in the district. And then she said that area was moved months ago. It came from a parent. I think that's in reference to the dangerous bus stop.
That's,
I'm not
that was
positive.
only one of the, I was the only one that I know of that even put in anything. But the thing that I find interesting is board members can't respond to my emails,
Well,
but they can wait till I'm on
first of
air.
all, you would not know.
Yeah.
The school isn't
Oh,
going
no,
to.
I agree with
the
you.
school's
Yeah,
not
yeah,
going to
yeah.
call you up and say, Howard, it's you and 11 other people that have filed a
Well, the
complaint.
thing I can't understand is if I'm emailing the district and the board, why can't they simply respond?
And then
Well,
Lance
they
is
kind of a board member just did.
But why
go
does it take me being on the air to do so? It's the second
Good
time
question.
in a row.
Lance is kind of picking up on something here, and this might be what's going on. He sent this as we wrapped up last hour. Please ask Howard, in a lot of his statements and interviews lately, does he feel like he's being dismissed and rejected by this board the way he was by the previous board, where they wouldn't come, you got to wait a full 30 days on a FOIL request. You don't get an acknowledgement on a FOIL request. Some of the questions you might have go unanswered. Is that what you feel is going on?
Yes, because the same stuff's happening all over again. Listen, we have how many professionals in this school district? So we're going to say we can't trust the word of our bus drivers, the word of our teachers, our support staff. These are the people I'm talking to along with parents. How many parents have to come forward and say, my child's being bullied, and everybody says, okay, we'll do something about it? No.
Again, there are ways to handle things. There are protocols in place. If your child is being bullied, let me just say this to all parents. Don't be offended.
No, you're fine.
If your child is being bullied,
You can use my name also.
do not go to Howard Potter.
Yeah.
That is a bad move. Go to the district. And in fact, there are laws in place that protect you. And if your kid is being bullied and the school does nothing about it and allows it to happen, Then you go to the state ed department. You don't go to Howard. Again, none of these paths go to you.
Yes.
There are things you can do if you are really being wronged. You go to the state ed, report something to the state ed, and I think you probably have made this move before.
Yes.
All right? The point is, it doesn't make sense that a kid is being bullied, the school's not doing anything about it, so they go to Howard Potter. That doesn't make any sense to me.
So what happened earlier this year, not this school year, but back in January and February, a parent that I went to high school with, graduated with, her daughters were being bullied to the point where she's calling the school every day, or kids are getting hurt, right? So she's pulling them out of school. Now she's dealing with issues. She went to the school board and told them, and still nothing was done.
Well, then she should go to state ed.
No, she moved. She
All
said,
right, or
because
she should move. Move.
But think about what you're saying. Yes, go to state ed. I agree with you. Go to the board. Go to your school district.
There are things you can do.
But how long does that take when your child's being harmed?
Well, I don't know the answer to it, but I cannot imagine.
But think about it this way.
Here's
though.
what I'm going to say again.
Yeah.
I cannot imagine that if there is a situation where a kid is being bullied, that a school is going to turn a blind ear to that or a deaf ear to that. Blind eye to that. Thank you. Cliches. Damn it all.
Yeah,
it's the Fox in Syracuse. I just can't see it. I find it hard to believe, and if that is happening, there are paths you can take, and that should be reported. If that's truly happening, it should be reported.
In the last school board meeting, we had a parent say for 5 years she's been reaching out. So her child goes to BOCES through our school district, and she wants her child to be active in sports and different things. And she was advocating to the point where at one point she was missing so much time from work.
You got too much. You're overloading me with information. I cannot. I'm way too much information.
But I'm saying people. Either way, people are coming forth,
and they're all things that I cannot say. I can't respond to because I don't know any of the details in any of these issues. The only thing I can tell you is I would trust this superintendent. I think she's tough, and I don't think she would allow people to be. She would certainly. I don't know of a teacher out there, that would allow for a child to be bullied.
I'm not saying a teacher's allowing it. I'm saying
the district is allowing it.
The process in which we take care of the situation isn't very effective.
Okay.
And parents are speaking up.
Okay. All right. Again, anything further?
No.
I'm frustrated, Howard. I'm
right
very
there with
frustrated.
you.
Okay.
Thank you as always.
Likewise, guys.
So this is the end?
Oh, you want to keep going?
No,
yeah, let's go.
No,
all right. Coming up, we'll get Howard's thought on ACT test scores. We'll be
like
back
it.
after this.
I'm surprised that's not a part of it. All right, Howard, let's see where this goes. I've cautioned you, though. Be careful. I'm telling you. I think in some cases you're being used. 827 at WIBX.
Hi, it's Joe Carbone from Power Sports of Utica. It's our end of the model year blowout sale. With over 450 units for sale. Save up to $3,500 on side-by-sides, $3,000 on snowmobiles, $3,000 on watercraft, up to $2,000 on 4x4s, financing as low as 1.99, save thousands on all used inventory, save up to 70% on general merchandise. October 16th through the 28th.
What's for dinner? Burgers?
After last week, no thanks.
Avoiding foods due to fear of diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose, oily stools? It may not be just stomach issues. It could be EPI, or exocrine pancreatic insufficiency. EPI can cause uncomfortable symptoms because it's a condition where the pancreas doesn't release enough digestive enzymes to break down food. But EPI can be managed. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and talk to your doctor about your symptoms. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Hi, it's James.
And Megan.
From the all-new Destination Kia of Utica.
And it's our grand opening sales event with deals on over 250 new Kias here and coming.
Choose an award-winning SUV, like the 2024 Kia Telluride 7-passenger SUV.
The Kia Telluride is the KBB.com 2023 Best Buy in the 3-row midsize SUV category.
Right now, lease a new 2024 Kia Telluride S all-wheel drive for just $498 a month for 24 months.
And that's with just $25 $3,500 plus tax due at inception.
Only during the grand opening sales event.
Now that's kooky. So go kooky for Kia at the all-new Destination Kia of Utica. Puppies and babies not included.
VIN number RG444439. MSRP 42,685. 24 months. 20,000-mile lease. 25 cents per mile over. $2,500 plus tax and fees due at inception. $0 security deposit. $695 acquisition fee included in payment structure. $395 disposition fee. 740 plus FICO score. Kia January to December 22 sales report. Offer expires 10/31/2023.
It's obvious the unthinkable is happening. With all the recent media distractions, most folks never saw it coming. But a few did. Their guts told them something very wrong was going on. And now the headlines are proving them right. The people in charge keep telling you that everything's fine and to stop noticing. But you know better. Folks are investing in emergency food storage, and you should too. My Patriot Supply, the nation's largest emergency preparedness company, are the ones you can trust. Go to mypatriotsupply.com and secure their best-selling 3-month emergency food kits. Each contains tasty breakfasts, lunches, and dinners, averaging over 2,000 calories per day. Get at least one for each family member. My Patriot Supply also sells biomass stoves, off-grid room heaters for when the power goes out, gravity-powered water filters, heirloom seeds, and survival gear that may come in handy soon. Go to mypatriotsupply.com today. It's time to prepare for what's coming. mypatriotsupply.com.
By texting 64,000, you agree to receive recurring automated marketing messages from Babbel. Message and data rates may apply. No purchase required. Terms apply. Available at babbel.com/TNC.
We're going abroad for the first time in years. To Spain. So we started using Babbel.
And started learning Spanish fast.
With Babbel, you can start having conversations in another language in just 3 weeks. Babbel's conversational method teaches you real-life words and phrases. And with Babbel's interactive bite-sized lessons, you'll remember what you learned.
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿De dónde eres?
¿De dónde eres? In just 3 weeks, we're starting to have conversations in Spanish.
Estoy muy emocionado para ir a España contigo.
Aw, he just said, I'm very excited to go to Spain with you. Nos vamos a divertir mucho.
And that means we're going to have a lot of fun.
Sí. Gracias, Babbel.
Babbel, language for life. And now try Babbel for free by texting WORLD to 64,000. Text WORLD to 64,000. That's WORLD to 64,000.
Hey, right now, Steve Ponte Mazda and their Move to Mazda sales event is back. Enjoy 2.9% APR financing up to 36 months on new 2023 Mazda CX-30s. They've increased their inventory so you can save when you finance or lease any new award-winning Mazda, including the beautiful CX-90 as we continue to move Mazda forward, says Ricky Z, with the Mazda sales event. Let's make your deal on a new Mazda from the dealership that's achieved first place nationally in customer satisfaction. Rick says where it's always easy to do business. Steve Ponte Mazda Commercial Drive in Yorkville.
WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM. This is Keeler.
Hey, don't get me wrong. I do appreciate Howard's efforts. I just feel like, you know when something just doesn't sound like it all makes sense, like you might not have all of the information? That's kind of how I feel. And believe me, with a school district the size of Utica, and any school district, you are going to have problems every single day, I would imagine. Right?
Say that again.
You're in a district the size of Utica,
Correct.
You're going to have problems every single day.
Yes.
In any school district, you're going to have problems every single day. But if you get somebody at the helm, I guess, where you feel, I know what Utica's been through, so they're probably, shell-shocked. You've been going through an awful lot, that district has. But I think you're in pretty good hands with this acting. I'm told she is the acting superintendent.
Can I also say, look, and I commend Howard because whether I think he's running for school board or not, I think he really cares and he's
no doubt about
committed
it.
to
Yep.
this
Yep.
100%. And he wants, as he says, transparency and things like that. But again, the issue with not enough teachers and a shortage of bus drivers, it's not like, and again, with all due respect, it's not like you can go, hey, call Amazon. I send 2 dozen bus drivers over. We're short again. It's not restocking supplies.
And I think the same thing with any shortage of teachers or lunch ladies or there is a major shortage right now. And a lot of the sub shortage, and I think Utica probably pays more than anybody pays.
I think they do.
The other part of this is you do have some teachers who don't want to be in a large city atmosphere like Utica School District.
Also, and I'll just say, I mean, there is a perception, right, about, again, there was a stabbing earlier this year, and the last year there was a shoot. Some people go, I don't want to be in that environment. Whether it's big city, little school, little city, I feel that I might not be safe.
You know where they pay more than anything else? In fact, they'll even pay off your college loans if you go to teach in New York City. Mm-hmm. And what's the reason? They can't get teachers. Nobody wants to teach in that element. And so they really have to work hard to get people. I mean, Utica is no New York City, but if you compare it to Remsen, I guess maybe it is, right? Right. It certainly feels that way.
So I'm glad Howard came on and raised the issues. I just don't know that there's anybody that you can point to and blame in some of these issues. And the other things he raised are personnel issues. I mean, if we reach out,
personnel issues are we're never going to get any information on that because there's a privacy required, and the school can't talk about it. So,
And if what he's saying about this particular individual that they've been put on leave without notification as to why, I think he referenced on the air that this person and their counsel spoke, then you have a case.
Play out.
Yeah, you have a case.
But it sounds like she or he, whoever the teacher is, has an attorney.
Right.
So you have, if there's wrongdoing, if this person's rights are being violated, then I would bet you that the school district would be held accountable, and there'll be money involved. But if they don't have a case, I guess I just don't know that of the. All right, go to Howard Potter. This isn't getting corrected. Go to Howard.
Well, he's certainly an outspoken advocate. Yeah. I would agree, though, that I don't know that it advances your case.
My fear is he's being taken advantage of.
Well, you might be right there.
And that's my warning to him. In studio right now, it's been a while, Katie Ayala. Good morning.
Good morning. I didn't get to hear a segment, but now I'm on the edge of my seat listening to your recaps. I'll have to go back and listen.
Every segment posts on YouTube at 9 a.m. The minute we shut it off, it goes live. So, okay, so are we getting involved in the mayor's race here?
I suppose so, yeah. Okay, absolutely.
All right.
So hang on, time out. I have to do this. You haven't been on since the incident, and I have to ask you, whatever your answer is your answer, but I have to ask you, there was an incident involving you and my understanding, a former city employee. You're still the councilwoman. There was no action taken by the council. What is your position here?
Right. There was no action because it was nothing city related, and whatever censure that they tried using didn't even go anywhere. So that's.
Will you say what the incident was?
And were there no charges pressed?
No charges pressed. No, nothing. That's why I'm confused how it got blown up, I guess, everywhere else, and it is what it is, and I figured it would come up here, so all good. Sorry, it's not that exciting, but
I think it is, but go ahead. We'll move on.
Okay.
You're here in regards to the mayor's race, and if I'm correct, you're a Democrat. You're supporting Celeste Friend.
I am.
Okay. And I know the issue. You sent information to me yesterday in regards to Mike Galimi. Mike, who came on last week and vehemently said he was never against the hospital, but he was always for asking questions. And he felt, I don't want to put words in his mouth, but felt that in many cases there were businesses that weren't informed, people were in the dark. He was asking those questions because he felt there needed to be answers to those questions. But he says he was never against the hospital going downtown.
Right. And then I heard Celeste speak last week, and then I heard Mike call in, and I figured he would have rebuttals. I was just shocked to hear that he seemed offended by the fact that he was against the hospital. And that was, he was talking about a Facebook video that he posted, but I was the whole time thinking about, well, what about the Luke Riddell video, where he's very explicit of why he's against it. And it's not just because of the businesses, but he seems to have deeper beliefs. He's against eminent domain. He's against what these New York State funded projects do in general, which fine, have different policies, but I think you just have to own it either way.
So in the interview with the high school kid, Luke, you're saying that he came out and said he was not for the hospital going downtown?
Right, and that's kind of just what I clipped back and forth. The very first question is, do you support the hospital going downtown? Mike Galimi says, at this point, I would have to say no. This was in April 2019.
Okay.
And it just expands from there. It's a 30-minute interview if you want to watch the whole thing.
And you sent me this morning, this is from May of 2017, back when the OD used to run a newspaper. It says, Mike Galimi is not in favor of building a new hospital downtown. The Mohawk Valley Health System is eyeing properties in the neighborhood of Oriskany, Columbia, and State Streets. I mean, how long ago was this, right, where they're still trying to pick a location?
I know.
Galimi, however, said the city would lose out to property tax exemptions, while Utica's small business economy would better be served by keeping the present neighborhood uncongested. They're grossly underestimating the potential of that area.
I just don't understand how these things... Here we are in another issue where candidate says, I never said that, but then we find evidence where candidate, when he wasn't a candidate, absolutely said that.
Yeah.
And I think my biggest
Why
issue-
not just say, you know what, at the time I was against it because of A, B, and C. I was against it, but I have come around, and you know what? It's here now anyway. It doesn't matter. I mean, you're better off with an answer like that than saying, she's lying. This is not true. I have never been against the hospital. If there are stories out there where he is saying that he is.
Right. And being somebody who personally I was very much, I think, recognized on the no side from 2017,
Right.
18, 19 on. And I liked Galimi because I thought he was also on that side. And I think I've learned a lot from the city and investments. And just, I think as a mayor, we need to know what their stance is on public investment. What are they willing to work with the state on and not? And where do they think our city is at? Because I think some people think we're at a really good place. And overall, we are, but we're so far from where we can and should be.
Yeah.
And that's where I guess I'm more concerned of why we're even debating where he stands 7 years later. And we need somebody who's going to be very clear. You have to communicate. And also, my biggest thing is you have to be a leader needs to own their positions. Without that ownership and responsibility, you can't have the accountability. And I think that lack of communication and accountability is, unfortunately, probably my biggest, what I liked the least about the last administration. And I think that's what's lacking and what we need going forward.
You mean the current administration?
Oh, yeah. I'm already into next year in my mind.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Who was mayor before Paul Mary? Was it George Washington? I'm trying to think. It goes back so many years.
Who was it? It was Dave Raffaello, right?
It was Dave Raffaello. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Now, some would say that Celeste has been, at the least, a bit wishy-washy when it comes to complete streets. What she would do with complete streets. Although I think she has said, she's not said she'd be against it if it would be. Maybe a better issue is the migrant issue.
Yeah, okay.
She has said that she would be against making us a sanctuary city, making Utica a sanctuary city, etc.
Well, but I believe she said she wanted to talk to the police.
She would
and
talk
other
you're
agencies.
Right, you're right. So how would you respond to those that say she's been a bit wishy-washy?
I don't find her to be wishy-washy. I find her to be somebody that, one of the reasons I like her is because how we can communicate in conflict and where we disagree on things. And I think that's super important. I don't find that in Galimi. I find, just from my personal experience with issues, I think with Celeste, if she is wishy-washy, it's not because she's trying to hide how she truly feels. And I don't even find her wishy-washy, but I think it's, talking to the people involved.
Yeah.
I think about Galimi and we talk about the full-time mayor thing, and I feel like his position has changed. On one hand, it was going to be 10 to 12 hours a week at his other thing. Don't worry about it. And now it's papers are signed that he said at the last South Utica meeting. He said papers are signed that I would be on unpaid leave as of January 1st. But that leaves this open-ended question for how long. What does that actually mean? And I think when Celeste's answers evolve, it adds more information, and she says how and why.
Okay, all right.
Was there an issue that you said you liked how Celeste responds when you guys have a conflict or a disagreement? What's an issue that maybe you guys didn't agree on at first?
I can think of even going back to 2019 when I was very much against the hospital going downtown, and Celeste didn't really understand why that was an issue, and I would talk through her about it. I had all my points, I had all the foiled emails of what I thought at the time, and she's like, let me learn more. And then she went, and it was at the time of the open hearing for the parking garage, so she jumped on that meeting and just kind of gets her facts and decides for herself, and then it's just what it is.
Is she, do you feel she's good with the hospital? Obviously, it's opening in 2 weeks.
Yeah, I think
Right.
and that's obviously the hospital's here.
The
but
fact
I
that
think
we're even talking about
Right.
whether you were for it but here's the thing. I don't think it's an issue if Mike Galimi was against it. But the issue does become a relevant issue if he was against it, and it's on record in a couple of different situations, interviews, and he's currently saying he was never against it. That makes it an issue, doesn't it?
I completely agree with you. And let me just say this as well. I guess
Just say this is how I felt back then. I was protecting the taxpayers.
I love to know of what made your opinion change and why.
Yeah, okay. All right.
So Donna Delano says, this is Katie Aiello in studio. Who is the woman you're speaking with now? Is she the one who screwed up Genesee Street? Do you want to respond to that? Are you the one who screwed up Genesee Street?
No, because I didn't vote to change it back to 4 lanes. That's
Okay, so
okay. Well, there you go.
You're still strong on.
Well, and here's the thing: 7 years from now, nobody's going to question where I stood on bike lanes,
Right,
And
right.
that's what I think leaders need to do, and be convicted by it. I know it was, well, overall, it was more popular when you looked at the survey results, but I know there's a lot of people who didn't understand it, and that's okay. I'm here to do what was right.
Sometimes issues I find that take gain life and gain oxygen, and they just take off and go in a direction. It's like a truck going down a hill without brakes, and no matter how hard you push, the brakes don't stop it, and it gained a life of its
and
own.
here's the other thing.
And the interesting part of it is, it was actually Samantha Colasa-Motesta who initially proposed complete streets a while before, and I know they've changed since then. And
Well, in
all of that,
2016, she did that. In 2020, the mayor did his trial, and then the council said, "Don't do that without our permission." 2022, I said, "Hey, mayor, I like this. Can you do it again?" 2023, the council said, "No, not like that." And I was kind of attacked on it for about 6 months from Gleamy himself, kind of making me out to be the person who did it when it was the administration. He should have put his efforts towards fighting the mayor because he wants to be one, and that's where the decision came from.
Okay.
You actually were willing to talk to us, though, and you were a supporter of it, and you were like kind of waving the banner on the complete streets.
Oh,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
Still believe in it. And that's where it's, I'm
well,
all in.
that's
the only time you've shied away from us was over this current personal issue, and
I'm here to talk about city issues all day long.
And I understand, and who really would want to get caught up in something like that anyway? And it does seem that nothing came out of it. There's certainly, although there was a police report, there was nothing after that. And the scenario is different than other scenarios previously, I believe, right?
I believe so, too.
I guess I understand. I appreciate the fact that you are willing, even though you know that most likely coming on this program on Complete Streets, you were going to get hammered.
Oh, for sure. I even had songs written about this.
I do remember that.
I
I've even forgotten about that.
I know. I forgot, too.
That was a beautiful song, though.
Beep,
It
beep.
was, yeah. and that's, here's the other thing, though. I was somebody in 2020, when I heard about Complete Streets, I was so against it with everybody because my business is downtown.
Right.
And I thought, what is this going to look like if there's a meeting out front? And I went to town. It was almost my COVID project, trying to figure out how to prove that Complete Streets is terrible. I was Googling bike lanes bad. And I kept learning more and more, and turns out the only thing that was wrong was my opinion about it.
Yeah.
And that's where I felt just so convicted by it. I'm like, maybe we can give more people this information that I learned over the years.
Can I just say one thing? This is just my perspective on it, and I could be completely wrong, and this is a really bizarre analogy. Okay, this is like 2015. President Obama called the Supreme Court's decision affirming a constitutional right of same-sex couples a victory for America. When he ran for president, though, he said he believed this is a weird example, that marriage was between a man and a woman. My point being,
he was very much, he said that, and he was very much, hadn't made his decision yet on the issue when it was getting closer and closer. And if you remember, it was Joe Biden who went on TV and said, the president's totally for gay marriage. And that forced Obama to actually step forward, and ultimately he progressed. So what you're saying is you start out here and you end up here.
Right, and there's never a distinct line in the sand that says this is, and people don't remember that. In hindsight, they look at the whole picture and they go, of course I was for that.
Right,
yeah, I was
right.
never opposed to this. But then when you look back at it, it's like, well, yeah, you were opposed to it until they finally sold you and you became for it. And I don't mean sold you like there was some kind of a side deal.
I don't think
until you became convinced that it was the right thing, you were against it.
Your point is there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, and there's an evolution along the way. But he's got to be he can't be out there saying I was never against it. When
where the wrong comes is when you tell us you were never against it, and there's all this evidence pointing to the fact that you were saying, yeah, I am against it.
So Mike's going to be with us, I believe, Wednesday morning.
Okay.
And I tried to get him on yesterday. I reached out to him to get him on today. He's got some stuff going on. I think there's an E&A meeting that's about to start. So he's going to come Wednesday, and he said if it comes up, please let everybody know. I will explain all this on Wednesday. But
However, we'll have audio on Wednesday from this interview, and you have the OD story as well.
From 2015. Remember we used to have a newspaper in the city?
Yeah.
You keep saying. Yeah, and it's on my YouTube page, my little 1.5-minute link.
Okay.
So, and I put the full links to the videos there. It's about 45 minutes totals of interviews, though, but Instagram only allows you to shorten it down to a 1.5. So.
All right. Well,
thank you, guys.
We appreciate your input. Thank you so much. And by the way, for those wondering, you are running unopposed.
I am, yeah. So we'll
so-
see what. Hopefully I win.
Okay. All right.
Well, you better.
Short of a massive write-in campaign, you should be successful.
Everybody go vote.
Okay. By the way, early voting begins on Saturday. Wow. 8:50. We'll wrap this whole thing up coming right up at WIBX.
Get ready for this week's half-off Thursday deal with SeizeTheDeal.com. Score your half-off gift certificate to Villa Verona Vineyard and Bistro this Thursday morning starting at 8. Get $50 for $25 with Seize the Deal's half-off Thursday. Villa Verona Vineyard and Bistro. Enjoy fine wine made on the premises in the tasting room, plus great food at the bistro. Just minutes west of New York State Thruway, exit 33 on Route 365 Verona. Get your half-off Thursday gift certificates this Thursday from Villa Verona Vineyard and Bistro. Hurry, they sell out fast at SeizeTheDeal.com. Ready for a smoother and safer ride? Head to Tallman's Tire and Auto Repair, your trusted tire experts. At Tallman's Tire and Auto Repair, you'll get expert advice from their knowledgeable staff. And it doesn't end there. Now through October 31st, buy 4 eligible Bridgestone tires and get up to $100 back on a Bridgestone Visa prepaid card. For details, visit TallmansTire.com. Bridgestone, solutions for your journey. Get the tires you and your vehicle deserve at the best prices guaranteed. From Tallman's Tire and Auto Repair, with locations in Utica, Yorkville, Rome, and Herkimer. Online at TallmansTire.com.
Stop into Mattress Express in New Hartford on Commercial Drive next to Pet Supplies. Plus, simply do a comfort test on our mattresses and get a $25 prepaid Visa card. Names like the Number Bed by Instant Comfort, Tempur-Pedic, Purple, Sealy, and more. Hurry, this is a limited time offer.
Hi, this is Scott Trout of Cordell & Cordell. If you're a dad who is facing divorce, there are extra layers of stress that may include stereotypes and assumptions. No two situations are the same. Our legal experience and dedication prepare us for whatever legal challenges we face together. You need a partner you can count on. For more than 30 years, Cordell & Cordell has represented men in divorce.
518-554-0000. 100 Great Oaks Boulevard, Suite 110, Albany, New York, 12203. Online at CordellCordell.com.
It's open enrollment for Medicare Part D. Kinney Drugs offers a free online tool to compare plans based on your specific prescriptions. Or call 844-653-5063 to compare plans and enroll right over the phone.
Investing involves risk, including possible loss of principal. Income may be subject to state, local, or alternative minimum tax. Did you know that municipal bonds are a way for investors to support civil projects while earning federally tax-free income? The Erie Canal, which led to the expansion of the United States into the Midwest in the 1800s, was financed with municipal bonds. Are you looking to bridge the gap between the income of your working years and the income needed in retirement? Municipal bonds might provide the solution you're looking for. Henyon & Walsh is a leading specialist in tax-free municipal bonds and has provided investors with quality service and personal attention since 1990. Call now to receive their informative bond guide absolutely free. Dial 1-800-761-9761 to learn how to earn retirement income while keeping your taxes at bay. Just dial 1-800-761-9761 for a copy of their informative bond guide for free. No cost, no obligation. 1-800-761-9761. Henyon & Walsh Inc., member of FINRA and SIPC.
Hi, it's Joe Carbone from Power Sports of Utica. It's our end of the model year blowout sale. With over 450 units for sale. Save up to $3,500 on side-by-sides, $3,000 on snowmobiles, $3,000 on watercraft, up to $2,000 on 4x4s, financing as low as 1.99. Save thousands on all used inventory. Save up to 70% on general merchandise. October 16th through the 28th.
He called it a historic budget.
Historic because Peceni hasn't raised the Oneida County tax rate in 11 years. Michael Hennessy would like to remind you that in his 17 years in office, Peceni never lowered the tax rate. And his historic budget doesn't raise the tax rates because he can't. Oneida County is operating at the maximum allowable sales tax rate by New York state law. Now you can make a historic difference. Vote Michael Hennessy, the true independent candidate that can stop the historic spending. The historic spending that goes up year after year after year. It's what generational politicians always seem to do. Spend more of your money. Be a historic hero. Vote Michael Hennessy for county executive.
I'm Michael Hennessy, asking you to make the difference. Vote Michael Hennessy, November 7th. Thank you.
Fall is in the air and the season for trucks has arrived at Steed Ponte Chevrolet. If you're ready to conquer the changing weather and want a truck that's like new without breaking the bank, then shop Steed Ponte Chevrolet. Test drive a 2021 Chevrolet Trailblazer Active all-wheel drive with only 13,000 miles or a 2020 Chevrolet Silverado Crew Cab LT four-wheel drive with only 18,000 miles. These are not just any trucks. They're certified pre-owned by GM, ensuring quality and reliability. Plus, when you choose a certified pre-owned vehicle at Steed Ponte Chevy, you'll receive a 6-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty and an additional 1-year bumper-to-bumper limited warranty. Visit us online at SteedPonteChevy.com. Embrace the fall season with a truck from Steed Ponte Chevrolet and find new roads. Steed Ponte Chevrolet, Route 28 in Herkimer. See why it's always easy to do business at Steed Ponte Chevrolet. These trucks won't last long. Offer ends October 31st, 2023.
WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM. This is Keeler.
So I had my little costume. I was physically ready. I was preparing myself. I did not try on the costume prior to Halloween. Do you remember this? This is an obscure one, but on the side of the box, I remember this on my Superman costume. It actually said, "Do not attempt to fly." They printed that as a warning because kids were putting it on and going off the roofs. You know. I love the idea of the kid who's stupid enough to think he actually is Superman, but smart enough to check that box before he goes off the roof.
Here we go. Halloween time, right? 315-736-0186 before we get out of here this morning. If you want to pipe in, let me start. Do you have any comments?
Well, this is from Mike Gentile, the city chair, Republican chair. Picking and choosing quotes from a 30-minute interview is the exact lack of transparency that's concerning. Galimi several times in that interview, and that's about the Luke Radell one, says that he is working to make the project better and will not fight to not put it downtown. Also, Celeste has said if he was mayor, people were concerned it wouldn't go downtown. Mike also discussed the fact that people were trying to label people yes and no as, quote, yes and no people. Mike also, we should be proud of leadership Mike showed during the time to fight for the businesses. Celeste has also accused him of making his own anti-hospital videos, which is, again, not true. We'll talk to Mike on Thursday. Bob Cardello, can I come on? Yes, you can. And Mike Galimi says, I will see you on Wednesday.
Okay, all right. So the only thing I can say to it is I haven't seen these interviews yet, but you say the OD story was pretty direct, saying he was against the hospital going downtown.
Yes, that is what the article says. It's almost like a subheading. And this is where's Katie. And this was back in 2017. So keep in mind, this is 6 years ago. That's why I use the Obama analogy, is because it's like at some point, I think everybody involved at least had questions. They're like, wait a minute, what do they want to do?
Correct. And
what are they going to do?
But that's not the question here. The only issue would be is if 6 days ago you said you never were against it. But again, I don't want to make any judgment on that because right now I haven't seen the interview. However, the OD story says
May 5th, 2017. Let's see, downtown hospital. Galimi is not in favor of building a new hospital downtown. They're grossly underestimating the potential of that area, he said.
Yeah. I mean, I just think that in all due respect, he would have been better off saying, I had questions back then, and I wasn't a big fan of it going downtown. But since that time, I have progressed, and I have, I think that you're better off saying it that way.
I agree.
Because now it comes off as that you were not necessarily telling the truth. And that does become a relevant issue in a campaign. I feel, anyway. We'll see. And we'll see what Bob Cardillo has to say about that. Stefan, there is a debate tonight, or a candidate forum, right?
Yes, there's a forum tonight in South Utica at the other side, next to Cafe Domenico, and it's the county legislators and also the Common Council at large candidates.
Okay, you'll be there.
And also North Utica at the Senior Center at 6:30 is the Mayor's Forum.
Are they having competing
I'll be at the
forums?
Mayor's Forum because that's more important.
And I believe in Rome there is a forum at the Capitol Theater. Is it tomorrow night, Davey? That forum?
Yeah, between Jackie and Mr. Lanigan.
And that will be streamed live, I'm told, from Rick Lewis. So.
Is there a dispute between the North Utica Association and South Utica? They're having competing ones. It's like a ratings battle.
They all try to get in there. So, okay, Seven. Thank you. Say goodbye.
Bye, Bill. And I'm going to be at Jimmy Fallon in a couple of weeks at the Stanley.
November 11th at the Stanley Theater.
Thanks for the warning.
WIBX Utica, Rome. It's 9 o'clock.
More Israeli airstrikes in Gaza. I'm Chris Foster, Fox News, and more than 5,000 Palestinians are now reported by the Gaza Health Ministry to have died in Israeli strikes since the Hamas terrorist attacks in Israel October 7th. President Biden released a joint statement with the leaders of Canada, France, Germany, Italy, and the United Kingdom, welcoming the release of 2 American hostages from Gaza, reiterating the right of Israel to defend itself, and urging Israel to protect civilians. The president also spoke again with Israel's leader.
Regarding that call with Prime Minister Netanyahu, the White House said this, quote, the leaders affirmed that they will now be continuing flow of this critical assistance into Gaza. The president expressed appreciation for Israel's support in helping to accommodate the release of 2 American hostages. That release happened Friday, of course.